Shall we start? Yeah.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. A very good evening and greetings. So, shall I start?
Yes, please.
A very good evening and greetings to all our seniors and counterparts. I, Vartika Jain, on behalf of Prakash Sachin and company, welcome you all to our weekly webinar, which is conducted by PSC on every Thursday. Today, we will be discussing very important and burning issue, that is reassessment under section 147 and 148 of Income Tax Act. Before moving ahead, I would like to take this opportunity to introduce PSC. PSC or Prakash Sachin and Company, established in 2004, is a professional CA firm which is working and growing under ambitious visionary of FCA Sachin Sinha sir, who is also founder and managing partner of the firm along with Prakash Sinha sir. Our firm has a global vision with presence in national and international borders like USA, Europe, UAE, and Singapore. PSC is also a member of IR Global for their exclusive transfer pricing matters. It has a sound and established practice in direct tax, including international and transferring, indirect taxation like GST, customs, and other laws like FEMA, PMLA, corporate law, insolvency law, and audit and assurance. Now, it's an honor to introduce Advocate Prakash Sinha sir, who will be the leading speaker of today's webinar on reassessment. Advocate Prakash Sinha sir is a practicing advocate and has more than 25 years of experience in the field of direct and indirect tax laws, fiscal laws, corporate laws. He is a chartered accountant turned advocate and is qualified in masters in laws with gold medal. He has also got experience in FEMA, IBC, GST, customs, and income tax matters, both domestic and international tax, including transfer pricing. Now, I would
partner.
I request you to please all kindly switch or mute yourself. Now, I would like to take the opportunity to introduce CA Sachin Sinha sir. He is a fellow chartered accountant and managing senior partner at PSC. He has in hand experience of taxation, auditing, and management consultancy. He has developed himself in the direct tax, corporate, secretarial, and commercial issues. Though Sachin sir is not with us today due to some urgent meeting, we heartily welcome you, Prakash sir. And now, without any delay, let's start our session. Now, over to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Am I audible? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's good. A very good evening to all, and good evening to our seniors and colleagues who have joined on this discussion on the issue of the reassessment under the Income Tax Act. We are regularly seeing this issue in the court here, that how the notices are being issued right now by the department, and many of the notices are not in compliance with the law. Many of the notices, whether it is a particularly 1516 onwards, 1516, 1617, 1718, 1819, I have seen many notices are not. All these notices, we have to understand where are the problem in the notices here. Further, I have also seen that the scope of the reassessment, which was there in the 2021, and after that it has been amended from the 1st April 2021. And after that, there are a lot of litigation, particularly in Delhi, Manmohan Kohli. After that, other this one say Ashish Agrawal matters from the UP matters, and Bombay High Court has also decided that these notices of issued post 1st April 2021 are not valid. And after that, we have seen the Ashish Agrawal came from the Supreme Court. And in the Ashish Agrawal judgment, Supreme Court has laid down the law, and wherein all the notices which has been issued after 1st April 2021, they have been converted into a notice of 140 in 148AB. And after that, subsequent proceeding has started. This means after this notice on this, after this judgment on 4th of May 2022, the civility has issued the circular, and this circular, in fact, in instruction, they have issued the instructions here, and based on the instructions, many assessing officers have issued the notices to the SSC, converting this notice as notice under 148AB notices here. However, many of the issues, although Supreme Court has decided in the Ashish Agrawal, but many of the issues are still burning, still not been answered. In order to understand what are the issues that is coming for the purpose of understanding of the reassessment, let's discuss here what is the scope of the reassessment and why the scope is, whether the scope is getting changing, whether the scope is getting changed, or it is not been changed, or it is the same. We should understand this part here. And for this purpose, we will be discussing, our discussion model is a comparison between the assessment or reassessment provision in before 2021, after 2021, and what is the implication of this part here. We will see into the implication here. And after that, we will go into the few of the cases here, cases by the High Court here. Because why I'm trying to say that this is the cases here, because right now at the High Court level, every notices are being challenged here. Since the notices are being challenged on the writ through the writ petition, the scope of the writ petition is very limited. Means they are on the issue of the compliance of the law, natural justice, and not giving a opportunity of being heard. These are the things that are being discussed in the High Court here. And based on these part, High Court has tried to pass an order. Based on this discussion, we have to also understand whether by way of these order, whether some of the important legal principle of the reassessment, whether it has been affirmed or not. Like we all knows that after the Calvinator judgment in the Supreme Court 320 ITR, there was a understanding that there cannot be change of the opinion here. The moment there is a change of the opinion, it cannot lead to the reassessment here. When we discuss about the change of the opinion, means there should be something new, things which should come after the assessment. If the AO is reviewing the order based on the existing fact, then it cannot be said that it is something new has come, and then it will fall under this ambit of the change of opinion. And therefore, and that cases, we have seen that recently High Court has also upheld that view, that change of opinion cannot lead to a reassessment under the new provision also. So therefore, we have to understand whether the reason to believe which was there in the first 147, how this reason to believe whether it has been diluted or it has not been diluted, or it gives something more here. Because under the 140, erstwhile 147, there was a reason to believe was there, and after there certain explanation was there. through the explanation, like explanation 2 was there, which says that in case you have not filed the return, then what will be the repercussion here? If you have filed the return, but your assessment has not been done, then you will also covered as it. That was a case where the deemed escapement was there under the old provision. Now, there is no case of deemed escapement here. Under this situation, can we argue that since there is no case of deemed escapement under the new act, therefore, the new act should not be applied. Therefore, their new act should not cover those assessments which were covered under the earlier provision here. May I request someone, please to mute yourself here. May I request all to mute here, because this discussion will go into the depth of the law here. So we have to appreciate what is the law that will be going here. Okay. So with this, I will.
नमस्कार नहीं कैंसिल कर दिया.
May I request to please mute, sir.
ना.
Hello.
कहाँ पे? 77 में कौन से में?
Hello. May I request?
ABS 77 में. नहीं अभी फिलहाल तो मैंने कैंसिल ही कर दिया. नहीं अभी कैंसिल ही कर दी. क्या रेट चल रहा है? रेट क्या चल रहा है?
May I request to please mute yourself, sir.
तो मेरे पर तो ये नहीं है. अच्छा 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 अच्छा. रजिस्ट्री हो रही है.
May I request to please mute? Okay. Am I audible? Shall we start, sir?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. Let's go to that discuss here. What were the old provision and why this new provision has come and what is the changes? I'm going a bit slow here because this discussion is to understand the law, to appreciate the what are the nuances that has been created in the new law here, and let's understand how this new law is going to, whether it is going to helpful to us and it is not going to helpful for us here. It says that if the assessing officer, earlier law was that if the assessing officer has reason to believe that any income chargeable to tax has escaped assessment for any assessment here, he may. The word was may was there. We will discuss the word may, subject to the provision of 148 to 153, assess or reassess such income and also any other income chargeable to tax which has escaped assessment and which has come to his notice subsequently in the course of proceeding under this section, or recompute the loss or depreciation allowances or any other allowances as the case may be for the assessment year concerned. So important point was there earlier, pre-2021, it was the reason to believe was there. This reason to believe is no more in the new law here. So we will understand what the new law talks about. It says that if the assessing officer has reason to believe that any income chargeable to tax has escaped assessment in any assessment year, it's here the law is said if any income chargeable to tax in the case of SSC has escaped assessment for any assessment year. This means if we compare both the law here, both the provision here, then we will find that the new section 147 is a bit more rigid here. It says it's a bit more firm here. It says that the AO should have come to a conclusion that yes, this income has escaped assessment here. There is no point here that he is a prima facie or not prima facie, because the word reason to believe, which used to say that it is a prima facie income, that is no more here in the new law here. So we have to understand that if any income chargeable to tax in the case of has escaped assessment for the assessment year, this means that the under 147 before under 147 income can be taxed only when it is a firm part here, and after that it says subject to the provision. May I request to mute yourself?
Rishabh, can you please mute yourself?
Whether can you mute from your side?
May I request to please mute yourself, please?
Yes, please. Yes.
Yes, sir. Now we will again, because please this one here, because we are going to discuss the important part here. So now the reason to believe is no more under the statute here. If the reason to believe is no more under the statute here, we can see that what is coming here is that if any income chargeable to tax in the case of an SSC has escaped assessment for any assessment. So this means the AO has to ensure that yes, this income has already escaped the assessment here. Then we will discuss what is the escape assessment here. Then point is that we will come to the old law. It says that subject to the provision of 148 to 153. Here it also talks subject to the 148 to 153. Only the new provision has come, 148A has come. Such income, assess or reassess, here is also an reassess. Such income and also any other income. Here it talks about such income. This means the issue is that only those income which has been escaped assessment, that can only be assessed here, such income, or recompute the loss or depreciation allowances or any other allowances or deduction for such assessment year. Then the point can arise here that it is qua the income only. This means it is a positive part they are discussing. It is not the qua the expenses here. So it is talks about due to this income here, such income or recompute the loss or depreciation allowances or any other allowances or deduction for such assessment here. I'm just telling that deduction was missing in the erstwhile provision prior to 147. The deduction was missing here. So let's understand what is the implication of this part here. We will go to the next slide here. Karthik, can we go to the next slide? Yes. Earlier was, now we have come into the earlier, before 2021, there was a proviso 1. Proviso 1 used to talk about that where the assessment, where an assessment under 143.3 or this section has been made for the relevant assessment year, no action shall be taken under this act after the expiry of 4 years from the end of the relevant assessment year, unless income chargeable to tax has escaped assessment for such assessment year by reason of failure on the part of the SSC, or to make return under 139 in response of notice under 130, 142 or 148, or to disclose fully or truly all material fact necessary for the reassessment for that assessment year. This provision is not here in the new law. This means what is the change that is coming here? Whether this means can the AO says in the absence of this provision, if you have not, even though you have disclosed all the material truly and fully, all the material fact, then I can go for the reassessment. I find that we will discuss a lot of case law wherein the court has come to the conclusion that even though absence of this provision, if the SSC has disclosed all the material truly and fully material fact during the course of the assessment, then the AO cannot open the reassessment proceeding. This means they have taken the view that unless there is a new thing which has come into the knowledge of the SSC or new information has come to the SSC, the AO cannot open based on the fact which was there at the record at the time of the original assessment. The moment you will try to do it, it will lead you to towards the change of opinion, and therefore the change of opinion still is not valid. 320 ITR, a Calvinator case. There are many other cases which talks about the change of opinion is still not valid. So therefore, even though proviso clause is not there under the new law, still we feel that we are very much safe with the jurisprudence that is being developed through the court here. After that, it talks about, I'm coming to the proviso 2. Provided nothing contained in this proviso shall apply a case where any income in relation to asset located outside India chargeable to tax has escaped assessment for any assessment year. Earlier it says that provided nothing, 147 was not used to apply for the purpose of the asset which is located outside India. Now this proviso is not there. Whether can we say that through this 147, new 147, if the asset is located outside India and it is chargeable to tax, that can be covered into the new escapement of the assessment here. So we will discuss this part in detail here. Proviso 3, provided that assessing officer may assess or reassess such income other than the income involving matter which are subject matter of any appeal, reference or revision which is chargeable to tax has escaped assessment. I feel even though this proviso 3 is also not here in the new law, it is not going to change very much here, because once any issue in assessment order is subject to appeal or subject to any or subject to any review or reference here, that matter cannot be taken in the case of for the purpose of reassessment. This means, take a case if one assessment order has been passed, and if one assessment order has been passed and there is a one addition only, and based on the one addition, the SSC has filed the appeal, can the AO says that on this point of that addition, you have not disclosed fully and you have not disclosed something, or he has received some new information, therefore on that point he wants to check it here, then there can be issue that if he has received certain information, but that information or the income is subject to the appeal before the higher forum, then he cannot touch it here. Still he cannot touch it here, because there is under the law of jurisprudence, there is a issue of merger. How we have to understand what is the law of merger says here. In the case of the law of merger, the order passed by the higher authority which merged with the order passed by the lower authority here. So the merger is there. If we say that on the same issue, the appeal is going on with the CIT, and in the same issue, the AO wants to reopen the file, it is not possible, because the same issue cannot be adjudicated at the two forum here. But take a case, another case here. If assessment order has been passed, and the assessment order passed has been, there were two additions. One addition you have challenged before the CIT appeal. One addition you have accepted this, you have not challenged before the CIT appeal. And therefore, AO finds some information, gets certain information, for the income which you have not challenged before the CIT appeal, then in that situation, the AO can proceed for the purpose of reassessment here. So therefore, the scope of the, even though proviso 1, proviso 2, proviso 3 is not there, we have to understand whether it changes the scope of the 147 or not changes the 147, or it gives some wider amplitude to the new statute here. Can we go to the next slide here?
Suppose the addition was in respect of X,
Yeah.
in respect of Y, another item, whether reopening is possible.
Yes. If the addition was on account of X, you have challenged it X. Now the AO, now AO finds something that there is another stream which were not brought in the record, or he has certain information which has come subsequently, then yes, he can proceed for the purpose of why, because why was never the issue before the AO, and why was not challenged before the CIT appeal here. So why is still unadjudicated here?
No,
So,
I'm saying it was not the issue of addition only. Then
Yeah,
AO
yes.
can do that. Yes. Then
yes,
AO
yes,
can-
yes,
Right.
AO can do it here.
Right, sir. Thank you.
Mhm.
प्रकाश सर
Yes, sir. कौन है सर? एक बार.
सी राहुल शर्मा।
हाँ सर, नमस्कार सर।
नमस्कार सर, कैसे हैं?
आपकी कृपा बनी हुई है सर हमारे को।
अरे सर, आप बड़े भाई हैं हमारे। सर एक बात और बताएं, जैसे अभी आप कह रहे थे कि जैसा स्टैंड नहीं चेंज कर सकते हैं, चेंज ऑफ ओपिनियन हम सब जानते हैं कि उसमें अलाउड नहीं करता है वो चेंज ऑफ ओपिनियन। उसके बाद फ्रेश फैक्ट्स होने चाहिए, फ्रेश मटेरियल होना चाहिए। तो जैसे अभी आशीष अग्रवाल वाला जो केस आया था, सुप्रीम कोर्ट का जजमेंट आई थी, तो उस सिचुएशन में जो नोटिस जिन पे ऊपर असेसमेंट डिपार्टमेंट ने कर दी बिफोर आशीष अग्रवाल, और उन्होंने उसके अगेंस्ट भी 148 AB का नोटिस मान लिया उसको, तो वो तो फिर स्टैंड नहीं करेगा लॉ में, वो तो ठीक नहीं है। आपका क्या व्यू पॉइंट है?
नहीं, आप आशीष अग्रवाल को आप अगर पूरी तरह अप्रिशिएट कीजिए। आप आशीष अग्रवाल is only those notices which has been issued after 1st April 2021 under the old act,
जी।
so 31st March 21 के पहले जो नोटिस इशू हो गया था which was under the old act, that was valid, उसमें कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं थी।
नहीं, मैं ये कह रहा हूँ सर कि जो नोटिस मेरे को आया 1 अप्रैल 2021 के बाद,
यस सर,
लेकिन डिपार्टमेंट ने उसकी असेसमेंट कंप्लीट कर दी मार्च 22 तक।
ठीक है,
तो वो तो कॉज ऑफ एक्शन ओवर हो गया। तो डिपार्टमेंट ने क्या स्टैंड लिया? डिपार्टमेंट कहता है कि आशीष अग्रवाल के केस के बाद उन्होंने उसी फैक्ट्स पे, जिसके अगेंस्ट हम अपील में चले गए, मार्च में हमारा ऑर्डर हुआ अगेंस्ट उन 14, 15, 16, हमने CIT अपील फाइल कर दिया। डिपार्टमेंट ने मई में आशीष अग्रवाल ऑर्डर आने के बाद में हमारे को 148 AB का नोटिस फिर से अज्यूम मान लिया। उसमें हमने लिखा भी कि हमारा तो ऑलरेडी असेसमेंट हो चुका है, कॉज ऑफ एक्शन इज ओवर, तो भी उन्होंने फिर असेसमेंट नए सिरे से दोबारा कंप्लीट कर दी सर।
हाँ
कर रहे हैं वो।
यस, वो सही कर रहा है, मैं बता रहा हूँ। देयर आर मेनी केसेस, क्योंकि आशीष अग्रवाल का केस 2022 में आया, मई 22 में आया सर
जी।
उसके पहले आपको जो नोटिस इशू हुआ 1 अप्रैल 2021 से लेकर के 30 जून 2021 तक में, बहुत सारे SSC ने अपना रिटर्न भी फाइल कर दिया, और रिटर्न फाइल किया, उनका असेसमेंट भी हो गया, और बहुत सारे लोग जो है वो CIT अपील तक भी पहुंच गए। लेकिन जब आशीष अग्रवाल आया, तो आशीष अग्रवाल ने बोला कि वो जो 148 का जो नोटिस इशू किया था आपने 1 अप्रैल 2021 के बाद से, वो नोटिस ही गलत था। सो देयरफॉर वो जो असेसमेंट हुआ और वो जो आप CIT अपील के पास गए, वो सारा का सारा खत्म हो गया। आज के डेट में वो उसका कोई वैल्यू नहीं है, वो आज के डेट में इनवैलिड है। दैट हैज टोटली this one say that proceeding has nothing to do with this one, that proceeding has become void here. So therefore after 1 अप्रैल 2021 के बाद से आपको 4 मई 2022 को हाई कोर्ट की जजमेंट आई, सुप्रीम कोर्ट की जजमेंट आई थी। 4 मई 2022 से लेकर के 31 जुलाई तक इन्होंने आपको 148 AB का नोटिस इशू किया था, और वही नोटिस वैलिड होगा। अर्लियर जो प्रोसीडिंग था, जो आपने पढ़ ली, आप असेसमेंट करवा लीजिए और CIT में चले गए, वो प्रोसीडिंग आज के डेट में नल एंड वॉइड है, उसका कोई मतलब नहीं है लॉ में।
तो अपील भी नल एंड वॉइड है, वो हमने जो फाइल
यस, वो अपील भी नल एंड वॉइड है।
पर डिपार्टमेंट तो साइमल्टेनियसली पुराने असेसमेंट के अगेंस्ट हमारे को पेनल्टी के नोटिस भी भेज रहा है, और हमारे को डिमांड के लिए भी फोन कर रहा है, प्रेशर कर रहा है।
नहीं, तो आप उनको ये बोल सकते हैं कि ये जो असेसमेंट हुआ था, ये परसुएंट टू दोज नोटिस हुआ था, जो कि 1 अप्रैल 2021 से लेकर के 30 जून 2021 तक हुआ था। वो नोटिस सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने आशीष अग्रवाल में उसको चेंज कर दिया, बोला कि वो दैट इज नोटिस इज नॉट वैलिड। और उसके बाद आपने मुझे 148 AB का नोटिस किया, उसके बाद आपने मुझे 148 AD किया, उसके बाद मैंने रिटर्न फाइल किया, उसका सब्सिक्वेंट असेसमेंट हुआ। सो देयरफॉर वो जो प्रोसीडिंग था वो प्रोसीडिंग ही पूरा नल वॉइड है। सो देयरफॉर पेनाल्टी भी नल एंड वॉइड है, और कोई डिमांड भी नल एंड वॉइड है।
तो सर इसमें जैसे कुछ लोगों का मत था कि ये जो है मैटर रेजुडिकेटा हो गया, क्योंकि आपका असेसमेंट जब कंप्लीट हो गया तो कॉज ऑफ एक्शन नहीं रहा, तो वो नोटिस को रिवाइव सुप्रीम कोर्ट
नहीं, ऐसा नहीं है।
तो मतलब पॉइंट गलत
है, बिल्कुल गलत है।
ओके, ठीक, थैंक यू सर।
So I was discussing about the proviso explanation, and now I'm coming to the explanation 1 and explanation 2. Explanation 2 is very much important. we will see that how the explanation 2 is there. Can we go to the explanation 2? Yeah, explanation 2. Explanation 2 talks about, ये देखिए explanation 1 और explanation 2 नए एक्ट में नहीं है. अगर ये नए एक्ट में नहीं है तो इसका मतलब क्या हुआ, क्या इसका इश्यूज क्या निकल के आएगा. इसका explanation 1 का कहना है कि प्रोडक्शन बिफोर द AO of the books of the account book or other evidence from which the material evidences could be with the due diligence have been discovered by the AO will not necessarily amount to disclose within the meaning of the foregoing provision. So we have to understand, पहले हमने देखा था, you have to disclose truly and fully. So what was the meaning of the truly and fully? उसी को explain में कर रहा था कि इधर even though you have produced all the books of account before the AO, it will not be considered it disclosed fully here, because you have to go for the, you have to state that these are the books of account और ये books of account में ये figure निकल कर आ रही है. So इसलिए explanation को through बताया गया था कि production, simplicity of production will not sufficient here. You have to submit this one, production before the AO of the accounts book or other evidence from which material evidence could be with the due diligence, have been discovered by the AO. So उन्होंने बोला कि AO should not discover. It is up to you. The onus was on the SSC to discover it and to produce before the AO. You cannot say, I have produced the books of account, you should have discovered this part here, and therefore my onus to submitting the truly and fully all the books of account is over. The law says no, nothing here. It is the duty of the SSC here. The onus is of the SSC, and therefore the explanation 1 में उसको clarify किया गया था. Explanation 2 is very much important, और यहाँ explanation 2 का एक बहुत बड़ा ramification है under the new law. What the explanation 2 says here: for the purpose of this section, the following shall be deemed to be the cases where income chargeable to tax has escaped assessment. ये याद रखिएगा, नए लॉ में deemed escaped assessment का कोई कंसेप्ट नहीं है. ओल्ड लॉ में क्या था, कंसेप्ट था, where the income chargeable to has the following, for the purpose of this section, the following shall be deemed to be the cases where the income chargeable to tax has escaped assessment. So there was a deemed escapement था पहले. अब ये deemed escapement का कंसेप्ट खत्म हो गया है. Now under this situation, how to argue before the court here? क्या अब हमारे पास 148 में डीम्ड इंफॉर्मेशन का आ रहा है, न कि डीम्ड एस्केपमेंट का आ रहा है. एस्केपमेंट अब जो है डीम्ड नहीं रहा, अब डीम्ड एस्केपमेंट नहीं रहा, अब डीम्ड जो है अब जो है वो डीम्ड इंफॉर्मेशन हो गया. सो वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड what was the deemed information, what is the deemed information, and what was the deemed escapement here. So for the purpose of this section, the following shall be deemed to be the cases where the income chargeable to tax has escaped assessment. Means जहां पर income escape हुआ है, पहला, where no return of income has been furnished by the SSC, although his total income or the total income on any other person in respect of which he is accessible under this act during previous year exceeded the maximum amount which is not chargeable to tax. It says that even though in cases where the return has not been filed, and your income was more than the limit here, then you will be subject to a deemed escapement of income. Now the issue is that right now there is no case of the deemed escapement here. Then can we argue that even though I have not filed a return, I cannot be covered under the term escaped assessment here? My understanding will be there. The term escape assessment includes the non-assessment as well as the under-assessment both here. There are various Supreme Court judgment also. Non-assessment as well as the under-assessment both will be covered under the broad term of income escaped assessment here. So however, can we argue that
नहीं मैं कोई सेमिनार सुन रही थी.
May I request to please mute yourself here. Shall I proceed here?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So if for the purpose of this section, so what we can SSC say that even though I have not filed the return, I should not be.
वो आज ही ट्रांसफर कर उसमें है ट्रांसफर
Just 1 minute. Can a SSC plead here that even though I have not filed a return here, or since this clause is not there under the new law, so therefore there is no case of escape assessment here, and since there is no escape, and so since there is no case of escape assessment here, so I should not be charged to the under new act here. My point is that even though the escape assessment word will include both the non-assessment as well as under assessment here. So therefore, this explanation, because the word explanation was there, the explanation, whether the explanation through the explanation, can we say that something was not there in the statute, but it has come here. The point which I'm trying to say, explanation was clarified the earlier law. The new law, if even though this explanation is not there, there will be difficult to argue that in the absence of this explanation in the new law, I cannot be said that there is a escapement of the income here. So can you right now, can you take that we have the new law right now? Can we say that since the no return has been filed by me, and even though my income was higher this part here, I should not be subject to tax, I should not be subject to escape assessment. Why? Because earlier the explanation was there, but now there is no explanation here. The department argument will be there that earlier explanation has merely clarified the existing main provision. Now this clarification is already there, or this income is already inbuilt into the term escape assessment, and the escape assessment is a much wider term, and that will include income which has not been assessed or under assessed. So therefore, however, we have to see that how the court will look into this part. These things has not come into the court till now, but it will be very much interesting to see how the court looks into this part here. The second part says, explanation B, where a return of income has been furnished by the SSC, but no assessment has been made, and it is noticed by the AO that the SSC has understated the income or has claimed excessive loss, deduction, allowances, or relief in the return. Now, there is a famous case of the Rajesh Javeri case here. Rajesh Javeri case was there, in which it was stated that the intimation order under 143(1) is not an assessment order. So therefore, it is not an assessment order because it was under the 143(1). The AO didn't get 143(1) was passed based on the certain basic adjustment here. It has not been assessed here. It has not been thoroughly assessed here. So the assessment Rajesh Javeri says that 143(1) order cannot be said to be assessment order. Agree. Okay, now proceed here. It says that when the return has been furnished by the SSC, but no assessment has been made, and is noticed by the AO that SSC has understated the income or claimed excessive loss, deduction, allowances, or relief in the return. This means this B was there where the return under 143(1) was processed. This B was not for the purpose where the 143(3) has been done, only for the purpose of 143(1). Now, in the absence of this clause in the new law, can the SSC says that my order was passed under 143(1). Therefore, even though I have not been assessed, but there was an intimation order, and can the intimation order be said that this intimation order should also be treated Or you can say that through this intimation order, there is no escapement of income. I feel that this ground will also be not sustained here, because the law says here escapement of income. Now it does not say escapement of income through the 143.3 order or 143.1 order. However, the degree of checking or degree of review by the court or by the AO will be different in the case of 143.3 order and 143.1 order. The moment it is a 143.1 order, what happens? Since the AO has not formed any opinion on this part here, so whether the issue arises, whether the change of opinion, whether there is a bar on the change of opinion under 143.1 order, we find that no. Under 143.1 order, there is no bar of the change of opinion, because no opinion was formed by the AO at the time of 143.1 order. So the bar of opinion, bar of change of opinion will not apply to the 143.1 order, but it will apply to the 143.3 order. The second situation arises here, whether the new fact is necessary for the purpose of even 143.1 order to get the assessment, reassessment done. Yes, the new fact is still required here. And there was a High Court judgment in this regard in the case of the E&Y, where the Delhi High Court has stated that since 143.1 order has been passed, so no new information is required. In my understanding that this judgment was contrary to the existing settled law, the new information is still required under 148A, even though it is the 143.1 order. So the 143.1 order or 143.3 order, for the purpose of the information, it is sitting on the same pedestal here. However, when the AO will look into this matter, AO has to ensure that since whether it was a case of 143.3 or 143.1, if it was a 143.3, AO has to ensure that it should not lead to the review of the existing order. When it is the review, what is the difference between review and reassessment? Let's understand this part here. Review means when the AO is taking a different view on the existing fact which was available at the time of assessment here. So if the certain fact was available at the time of assessment, this material was on the record here. And if the AO is trying to take a different view, which he has taken earlier, then it will subject to the review, and the review is not allowed. However, if the AO receives some information which was not at the time of assessment, but this information is subsequent, and after this information, AO is taking any view, then it will lead to the reassessment. This is the basic difference between the review and the reassessment here. Second topic, it talks about BA, where the SSC has failed to furnish a report in respect of any international transaction which was required under 92E. Now, this provision is also not there. So therefore, the situation arises, whether this means earlier the situation was there, the moment you have failed to submit the transfer pricing report or furnish the 3 CEB, it was a case that it will lead to the income escapement here, or you can say that they are deemed escapement here. Now this situation is not there. Only in the case of the information, it has been said. We will discuss on the 148A, what are the information, what are the sources of information, and there the source of information is there. If the SSC, if the AO receives certain information under section 90 for the purpose of the income, for the income which is chargeable to tax, only in that case 148A will 148 that will be covered under 148A. So this clause is no more right now. So therefore, through this we can say that the scope of deemed assessment has been reduced. There is no case of deemed assessment here or deemed escapement here. I am coming to the C, where an assessment has been made, but income chargeable to tax has been under assessed, or which income or such income has been addressed at the too low of a rate, or such income has been made the subject of any excessive relief, under this act. So let's discuss first part, C1. Income chargeable to tax has been understated and underassessed here. Take a case, you have the profit, you have the sales turnover of 1 crore rupees or 10 crore rupees. And however, through the 10 crore rupees, you have a certain income was there. Now it says that income chargeable to tax has been underassessed. How do we underassess means? Only the rate has been applied the same, but the amount of the income has been reduced here. So if in the amount of the income has been reduced, that can automatically lead to a deemed escapement here. But this clause is no more into the new law. How to understand this part here? Whether can you say that since, look, I have the business income, wherein I have said 2 crore rupees income, but yes, you have find certain fact. This fact says that the income is 2.5 crore rupees. So can we say in the absence of the clause C1, it is not the escapement of the income, because I have already offered to tax. Yes, I have offered less amount. But the word, again, we have to go to a word, escapement of income here, escaped assessment. This means the 50 lakh rupees has escaped assessment here. So this means it was already built into the new law, the word escaped assessment here. Income chargeable to such income has been assessed at too low a rate here. Now take a case here. There is certain income, there is certain turnover is there under, and you have offered for the purpose of books of account here. There is a sales turnover here, and the AO says no, this is not a turnover from the sales, but this is a receipt under section 68 here. You have already offered the income, you have already offered the same amount under the profit and gains from business and profession. But AO want to say that no, this income is not under the profit and gains, but it is under section 68. This means if you will try to link you to 68, 115 BBE will apply. The moment 115 BBE will apply, the rate of tax will be 60%. Can we say that, look, this income was already subject to assessment here. So there is no case that I have, and in the absence of this clause into the new law, we can plead that this should not be treated as the escape assessment. We have to see that how the court comes into, or how the courts argue this, how the court considered all this argument here in the into the coming year, because now all these expressions are not into the new proviso. We have to understand the implication of the new proviso here. Come to the next slide, please. Explanation 1. Explanation again CA, where the return of income has not been furnished by the SSC, or a return of income has been furnished by him on the basis of information that leave it. We will come to this part here. Come to the next slide, sir. Yes. Earlier there was explanation 3, and now it is a explanation is also coming into the statute here, into the new 147. It says that for the purpose of assessment or reassessment under this section, the assessing officer may assess or reassess the income in respect of any issue which has escaped assessment and such issue comes to the notice subsequently in the course of the proceeding under this section, irrespective of the fact that the provision of section 148A has not been complied. Here the issue will come. Take a case here. You have got a 148 notice on the income qua A, but during the assessment here, the AO finds that there is an income which B has already not been assessed here. However, during the assessment, he finds that A, which was for which the notice was issued, it will not be subject to tax, because on this point you have satisfied to the AO. But on the point of B, he wants to tax it here, or he wants to assess this income. How to interpret the law? whether the addition can be made both on the A and both on the B, or addition can be made only on the A, not on the B, or addition can be made only on the B, not on the A. The law says here, if the assessment has been started or the notice has been issued qua the 148 or 148 for a particular income, say A, and during the course of the assessment, the AO find out that being B was also escaped here, then he can cover the B. Agree here. But whether he can say that no, I will drop the A, but I will cover the B. There is a Jet Airways judgment from the Bombay High Court, which says that if the issue on which the notice was issued, and on that point there is no assessment, no addition or no assessment here, then there cannot be any subsequent addition into the other point also. The B cannot be added here. There is an important judgment here. The second issue arises here, whether only A can be there or B cannot be there. We have to see that part here. It says that explanation for the purpose of assessment and reassessment under this section, the assessing officer may assess or reassess the income in respect of which any issue, very much important, income in respect of any issue which has escaped assessment. Yes, escaped assessment. And the word and is very much important. It is not the word and or. It says and or. And such issue comes to the notice subsequently in the course of proceeding under this act. And such issue which comes to the notice, subsequently in the course of the proceeding under this act. So the point is that such issue that should come to the notice, whether he should inquire something or whether he should do something roving inquiry for the other part also. I feel that the law that has been drafted like this one here, that the information should come to him, or information which comes to him, or the AO notices certain information or issue comes to him subsequently in the course of the proceeding under this act. So once the 148A has started, and after that return has been 148 has started, and after that we have furnished the return. This means once the return has been furnished, the ground is open for the player here. The AO says that yes, this income, against this income I have issued the notice, I will assess this income. But he finds certain other income. Whether for the purpose of this finding other income, what he has to do, whether he can go for the roving inquiry. However, the law says such issue come to his notice subsequently. This means only those issues which will come to him, he should not do any inquiry for this purpose here. Comes to him notice he notice subsequently in the course of proceeding. So therefore, very important point is that during the course of this reassessment proceeding, when we are supplying the information to the AO under the 142(1) notice here, we should very much see that this notice under 142 should be confined to the issue or on which the 148 has been started or 148A(d) has been started. The moment we find that it is trying to cover any other issue, then we will say that, can we say that it should not be, it is not coming to your notice here. So we have to very much cautious here what the information we are supplying to the AO against the 142(1) order or 142(1) notice here. Then subsequently here, if you receive that there has certain information which has been asked by the AO, and certain information we say that no, you have to give certain more information. Can we say that on this information you have not started the 148 here, so please be confined to those issues on which the notice was issued here? My point is yes, my understanding, yes, we can say that, or this issue can be taken up at the level of the High Court here or at the level of the appeal matter here, because we should try to confine that the 142 notice should be confined to the issue which was on the 148 order here, or 148 notice here. Can we go to the next slide here? Yes. We have also discussed, like, deemed cases of the escapement here, explanation 2. VXL India Limited was 215 ITR 295, which was reversed by the Supreme Court here. MTNL, there is a phrase, MTNL judgment is there. The issue also I have discussed about the no return cases or under-assessed cases here. Now we have the cases where the filing of the updated return is there under 139(8). Whether 139(8), suppose that there is a case where we have not filed the return here, and it is a case where we can file the updated return here. Can we say that the moment I have not filed the return, I have received the notice under 148AB saying that this income was missing in you are liable to assess for this income, but you have not been assessed for this income within the span of 3 years. Can we say, or can we file the updated return? I feel that there is no bar in the updated return here. We have to check that, can we file up this one here, 148 updated return here? And if we file the updated return, what will happen to this case here? Very much important point that will be coming to this one here. Filing of the updated return prior to 1/4/1989. Why I'm trying to understand the term prior to 1/4/1989? Because prior to 1/4/1989, there was a scope of the 147. There was a two limb was there. Information was there. Information was required under the before the 1/4/1989. So how to understand the term information, that we will discuss after this one. Can we go to the next slide here? This is the 147 section prior to 149. And the limb B was important. It says that notwithstanding that there has been no omission or failure as mentioned in the clause A on the part of the assessee, the assessing officer has, in consequence of information. So the term information was there prior to 1/4/1989 in his possession. Now, this is also important, that information in his possession. Reason to believe that income chargeable to tax has escaped assessment for any assessment year. So information terms were there before 1/4/89. Then we have to understand what is the term information, how the Supreme Court has discussed the term information, and whether this information will also be valid for whether this judgment will also be relevant for interpreting the term information as of now, because under the 148 we have to deal with the term information here. Then we have to understand what is the meaning of the term information. The term information in the context in which it occurs under section 147B must mean instruction or knowledge derived from external source. Very much important, the information should come from the external source. What should be the external source? We can discuss. External source concerning fact or particulars, or as to the law relating to the matter bearing on the assessment. So the information that should come from the external source concerning the fact. So information should be related to the fact or as to the law relating to the matter bearing on the assessment, which has the bearing on the assessment here. Another judgment was there in the Makipur Club, what I discussed here. Section 147B postulate that information which has come to the possession of the AO after the passing of the assessment order, and it is only such information that he is entitled to act upon. Very much important, only those information which has come to the possession of the AO after the passing of the assessment order. If the information was already there with the AO at the time of making the assessment here, then any reappreciation of the existing information would lead to change of the opinion, which is impermissible. Then it says that if there is only change of the opinion based on information that was already there, then it will be only the reappreciation of the fact, or if it is a reappreciation of the fact, then it will cover under the change of opinion here. Can we go to the next slide, please? Earlier, there was a Supreme Court judgment where it says that audit objection is not an information. However, by way of amendment into this law by 2021, earlier it was any CAG objection, final objection of the CAG. Now it has been diluted that any audit objection. But the issue of the any audit objection was discussed by the Supreme Court in the case of the Indian and Eastern Newspaper Society under 119 ITR 1996, where it was held that any opinion of the internal audit party of the income tax department on the point of the law cannot be regarded as information within the 147B, and the same cannot be lead to the proper initiation of reassessment proceeding. So therefore, we have to see this, how far this judgment of the Supreme Court in the Indian and Eastern Newspaper Society can be applied under the new law. Can we say that since the Supreme Court has stated that any opinion by the internal audit party or any information by the internal audit party cannot be considered as an information, while the 147B, whether the same proposition can be applied right now under the 148A, saying that still also, even though statute mandates that the information from the may I request to just the information under the 148AB, even though statute say that the audit objection will be a valid information, we can argue this point before the court that under the Supreme Court in the case of Indian and External Newspaper has already held that any opinion by the internal audit department of the income tax department cannot be covered as an information for the purpose of 147B. So for this purpose, what we have to do, we have to appreciate the 147B and the 148A, and how the term information has been there. We have to appreciate this part. This will lead to a good argument here before the Supreme Court, saying that yes, even though the statute say that audit report or the audit information from the audit department will be an information, but this can be argued on this point here, that Supreme Court has already decided that information from the audit department cannot be termed as an information here. So therefore, even though any information that we receive, the initiation has been done on this basis, that can be challenged before the court here. Can we go to the next slide here?
As you say, earlier in the statute, it was not there.
Yes.
But now in the statute, it is there. So
yes.
Will it not be difficult to argue that?
I agree, sir. Even though, but the point is that even though by statutory mandate, you have inserted that any information, I just have to read this point here, any information by the internal audit here that will lead to the information here. It says that 148A. Just hold on, sir. Yes. 148. It says that any audit objection to the effect that the assessment in the case of the SSC for the relevant assessment year has not been made in accordance with the provision of this act here. So it is, even though my point is that even though it has come to the statute here, but there is a valid argument here that this audit objection should not be lead to any information in the case of the SSC, because the Supreme Court has said that even though it is an audit objection, it will lead to the change of the opinion here. And the moment there is a change of the opinion, it cannot be covered here. Supreme Court in the case has especially discussed this point here. And further, there is one Madras High Court judgment that we will discuss here in the case of the Cherian here. Justice Anita Sumant here. She has discussed the scope of the information. What should be the information? And that will be in the light of this judgment also. What should be the information? What is the scope of the information? Whether the term information can be widened to include everything. The point is that, but it is not only information. The information which suggests that there is a escapement of income. Very much important point is there. The information, simplicity is not information, but the information, what should be the information which suggests that the income chargeable to tax has escaped assessment.
Yeah.
So there's a rider on this information.
Supreme Court said information on question of law, but information on question of fact.
Yes.
Then possible, no?
Yes, possible, sir. Possible.
Yeah,
sir.
yeah. Right. Thank you.
Now coming to the 148. 148 here. 148 is very much important, and we will see that there is a wide changes in the 148. Let's see how the 148 talks about. I'm not going to the old law because old law is like this one here. Although there was only two provision was there. The new law talks about very much important. Before making the assessment, reassessment or recomputation under 147 and subject to the provision of 148A. Very much important. Subject to the provision of 148A. This means 148A has necessary to be complied before the 148. This means 148A has to be complied. But can there be circumstances where the 148A has not to be complied? This means where the statute itself says that under these are the provision, when the 148A is not required to be complied, then this subject to the provision of section 148A that will not apply. And what are the provisions where the law will say that yes, 148A will not apply? We have seen recently, that in the case of the 147, it says that if if during the course of the assessment, it comes to the notice to the AO that certain other income has already escaped the assessment, then irrespective of the notice under 148A has been issued, he can assess this part. So under that situation, law itself gives the waiver of the 148A. This means the law itself is giving the waiver of the 148A under the 147. One cases under the 147 law is giving the waiver, and we will also read under the 148A also, and under the 148A, we will see that where the provision of 148 will not apply. So there are 4 or 5 conditions. We will come to this point here. The AO shall serve a notice here. We have seen that under 147, it was the word may was there. But it was here, it is served. So why the word may was there under the 147? My understanding that even case where the income has been escaped assessment was there at the time of his assessment here, then the AO cannot do this part, the reassessment here. So therefore, the may has been used because may is giving a discretion there. May is leading to understand here where there is a new information or not a new information, because AO cannot do a review of his own case here. But here under the 148, it says that before making an assessment, reassessment and recomputation under 147 and subject to the provision of section 148A, the AO shall serve. So it is a mandatory to serve the 148 notice, shall serve a notice under 148 along with a copy of the order passed under 148A. Very much important, along with the copy of the order passed under 140. So whether the issue arises, whether the order under 148A and the 148 notice shall be stacked together, or can be there in a gap? Can there be a gap between 148A order and 148 order? Or what happens if there is a gap here? Or is there any what is the consequences of if there any gap here? Why the term along with has been used here, along with a copy of the order passed under 148(8)(d) order. My understanding is that the moment there is an order passed under 148(8)(d), it will lead to a situation whether either AO has dropped the proceeding or AO has not dropped the proceeding. The moment AO has not dropped the proceeding by going through your 148(a)(c) submission, then he has to pass the 148(8)(d) order within that time frame. The moment he has passed the order under 148(8)(d), and 148(8)(d) says that this case is fit for the purpose of issue under notice under 148(a). Therefore, the moment the fitment has been given through the 148(8)(d), the notice under 148 should automatically trigger, and therefore the word says along with the 148(8)(d) order here. It says that along with the 148(8)(d) order, requiring him to furnish within such period as 148. After that, word should come, if any. 148(8)(d). If required, yes, sir. 148, along with the order passed, if required, shall be a notice requiring him to furnish within such period as may be specified in the notice. So on the 148 notice, he will specify the period, return of income or the income of other person in respect of which he is assessable during the previous year, corresponding to the relevant assessment year, in the prescribed form and verified in the prescribed manner, and setting forth such other particulars as may be prescribed, and the provision of this act shall, so far as apply, accordingly, if such return were returned furnished under 139. So the moment we have received the 148 notice, and 140, the moment we have to file the return has to be filed within the date which has been prescribed under the notice. However, there is an amendment in the 2023 Act here, which says that the notice return has to be filed within the 3 months of the notice here. I have not covered this part. I will cover this part subsequently. And the moment you have filed the notice, that notice will be treated as a return under 139. This means it will be treated as a return under 139. What will happen? We have filed the return under the earlier law, and now we are filing the return. This means the 148 return, which has been saved to be 139 return, which has been filed subsequently, that will supersede the earlier return, and now this return will be final. Earlier return will no more final there. Earlier return will be becoming honest. My understanding is that. Can we go to the next slide here? After that, you say that provided that no notice under this section shall be issued unless there is information with the AO, we suggest that the income chargeable to tax has escaped assessment in the case. Now there is a proviso clause. It says that 148 notice cannot be issued unless there is a information. Very much. The first time the word information is coming, what we have seen in the earlier erstwhile information with the assessing officer, which suggests that the income chargeable to tax has escaped assessment in this case. At this stage, only suggestion is required. Here the word says income, which suggests that income chargeable to tax has escaped assessment. Whereas under 147, it says that income has escaped assessment here. So the certainty level under the 147 was much higher. Here it says that information which suggests that income chargeable to tax has escaped assessment has escaped assessment in the case of the SSC. Very much important, in the case of SSC for the relevant assessment here, and the AO has, and this means a conjunction is there. AO has obtained prior approval of the specified authority to issue such notice under 148. So prior to issuance of the notice under 148, the approval by the specified authority is important here. However, there is a proviso here, which has come in the 2022 Act here, which says that no can you go to the next slide, please? Yes, there was a further proviso came here, which says that no such approval shall be required where the assessing officer, with the prior approval of the specified authority, has passed the order under 148A(d) to the effect that it is a fit case to issue the notice under the section. So if you have obtained if the AO has obtained the approval under 148A(d), then subsequently no approval is required at the time of 148 here. Now come to the main issue here. It says that earlier there was no definition of the information. Now there we have the definition of the information here. You will see that for the purpose of this section and section 148A. So when we discuss the term information which suggests income chargeable to tax as escape assessment, then we have to see that this term has been used in the section 148A and 148. Then what is the meaning of the term here? It says that the information with the assessing officer, we suggest that the income chargeable to tax as escape assessment means, what it means here? Any information in the case of the SSC for the relevant assessment here in accordance with the risk management strategy formulated by the board from time to time. Now, earlier it was there, any information flagged in the case of SSC. I don't know if the information flagged in the case, if what is the meaning of the term flag. My understanding that the meaning of the term flag will come only means it has been highlighted. It has been out of 10 information, this information has been flagged, means it has been become highlighted here. But the word flag has been removed here. It says that any information in the case of the SSC for the relevant assessment here in accordance with the risk management strategy formulated by the board from time to time. Now, the risk management strategy is a thing which nobody is known what is the risk management strategy. Risk management strategy has not been defined into the statute. I can find out some information what is the risk management strategy, and it was from one of the instruction or circular for the faceless assessment. We will discuss. Can you go to the where we have discussed about the risk management strategy? Yes. The risk management strategy was the CBD2 notification 137/2021 dated 13/12/2021 defined the risk management strategy means where it defines as risk management strategy means an algorithm for standardized examination of the information by using suitable technological tools, including artificial intelligence and machine learning, with a view to reduce the scope of risk as decided by the board from time to time. So what we can understand, the risk management strategy is mainly a technical tool or technical method based on the artificial intelligence or the machine learning, through the machine learning, and which will reduce the human intervention in this case. And by way of this algorithm here, what they are doing, that standardization of the information by using suitable technological tools here. So through this algorithm, they find out by way of standardized examination of the information, whatever the information they have, we know that they have a lot of information. So by way of this information, I can say that by way of mining of this information, they are getting something from that. And this information is being examined on some standardized format here by using suitable technological tool, including some artificial intelligence and machine learning. And with this view, they are trying to give some information to the AO that this information is important here. Can we go back here? So it says that no such approval shall any information in the case of an SSC for the relevant assessment here in accordance with the risk management strategy formulated by the board from time to time. This risk management strategy is formulated by the board, and it is varies which time to time. It is not a static, but it is a dynamic. It may happen the RMS risk management strategy for this assessment year may be different. The next year something different. The level of examination something different here. So they may put some more filter for the purpose of examination, and after this information. Now the issue arises here. Can anyone argue before the court that look, this risk management strategy is not in the public domain? I don't know what are the criteria that you selected here. Risk management strategy is not in the domain. How I know that this information has been selected through the risk management strategy? How we will come to know whether anything that you have to provide, the AO has to provide, and if the AO has to provide, at which stage the AO has to provide. And I have seen many 148A(b) notices where it is silent from where they have got the information. They are totally silent which information from where they have got the order. And now when we go to the 148A(d) order, we say that this information from the NMS data or from the inside data, whatever. So can we say that non-providing of this information to me has not given me sufficient fair opportunity to revert on this part here? I don't revert on this part here because I didn't know from where you have got the information. I feel that it is a very valid ground here, and we have seen that in many cases, the High Court has stated that provide the data to the SSC or provide all the information which you have gathered for the purpose of 148A(b) drafting here. So all the information which have been gathered for the purpose of 148A(b) so-called notice, that should be furnished to the SSC along with the 148A(b) notice. Now the situation arises whether the SSC should ask for this type of information or whether the AO should suo moto provide this information. By reading the various judgment, it comes out that the AO should suo moto provide along with the 148A(b) so-called notice the sources of information from where they have got this information, and not providing such information will lead to a not giving a proper opportunity to the SSC. It will not be fair on the to the SSC here, and so therefore, based on the natural justice ground, the High Court can quash the proceeding itself or 148A(d) order. Now the point which comes is any audit objections to the effect that the assessment in the case of the SSC for the relevant assessment here has not been made in accordance with the provision of this act. Now, very much important. It says that information. First part was their information. The second part is that any audit objection to the effect that the assessment in this case of the SSC of the relevant assessment here was not made. This means for the purpose of invoking this information, there should be case where the assessment has already been made. So what assessment should be placed? Whether 143(1) will be there or 143(3) should be there. Can we say that no, it should be 143(3) because the Rajesh Javri says that 143(1) is not a assessment here. So we can say that the audit objection should come only after the earlier existence of 143(3). First argument can be there. The second part is there. Any audit objection to the effect the assessment in the case of SSC for the relevant assessment here has not been made in accordance with the provision of this act. So what the audit objection will take that in this audit should be this assessment should have been done in a such a manner. However, you have not done, the AO has not done in such manner, but it should have been. So there is a information that has been given to us. I feel that can the audit objection do this part here that you should provide or through which manner the AO should do the assessment here, or whether through the, because under 119 I can understand that the severity cannot pass an instruction giving a in a manner how to do the assessment here. Whether when the severity cannot give some instruction, whether by way of a statute they can say that I will not give the instruction, but the audit team will give the objection here. So any audit objection to the effect that the assessment in the case of SSC for the relevant assessment here has not been made in accordance with the provision of this act. This means what I understand that it is something impede the power of the assessing officer. So therefore, on this point itself, it can be challenged here that the moment there is an audit objection is giving some information, we can say that this information, first, the information should not be covered under the Supreme Court judgment in the case of Indian Express here. And the second part is that whether this information through which the audit team is saying that this audit should be done in this assessment should be done in this manner, I feel that it will impede the power of the AO here. Very much important. We have to see that the constitutional validity of this part here. Any information received under an agreement referred to in section 90 or 90A of the Act. So any information which is received under an agreement. So what are that? We know that India has signed DT agreement under the 90 or 90A. So there can be multiple agreement which has been signed, and you have information received under an agreement referred to in section 90 or 90A of the Act here. Any information made available to the SSC assessing officer under the scheme notified under the 135. So there is a scheme which has been notified under 135. We will see that how this scheme is there, and under this scheme, can you have received certain information, and this information has come to the AO. So any information made available to the assessing officer under the scheme notified under 135A. So we will go to the detail of the 135A also. Any yes,
as
sir.
regard audit objection, I don't think that provision is saying that it is giving direction to the assessing officer. You assess. What they are saying is, suppose there is a particular law and you have not followed that law. Suppose there is a deduction has not been allowed in accordance with the law. So that way, can you say that it is affecting the powers of the assessing officer? No, I don't think so. No, it is that wide.
If I can go, I feel there is some section 119, just 119. Just read, let me read 119.
No, here audit objection is only saying that particular provision has not been followed. Suppose something is taxable in a particular section, and the assessing officer says no, it is not taxable. So the assessment is not made in accordance with the law. 119, CBDT cannot issue the instruction. CBDT issues the instruction, but if they are not instruction, this is audit objection.
So the point which I'm trying to say, that it says that any audit objection to the effect that assessment in the case of an SSC or the relevant assessment here has not been made in accordance with the provision of this Act.
Yeah.
So if the assessment has not been made in accordance with the provision of this Act, and you have received certain information, the AO is supposed to follow the provision of.
Yeah, that's what they are saying. Hello.
Yeah, if the AO has not followed any provision of this Act here, okay.
Yes.
And the audit objection is saying that this law should be followed. What the law? Then I can understand this law should be followed. It is just a guiding factor here.
Yeah. Yes.
It is just a guiding factor here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But can the audit objection say that you should include this income for the purpose of assessment here? Or can this AO as an audit department say that, look, you have missed this income for the purpose of assessment here, or you have taken a different view? Take a case, we have taken a different view. AO takes that, suppose that we have certain income which you understand that yes, this income should be covered under the business and profession. Suppose that you have a rental income, and rental income, the SSC is in the business of renting out. You understand that this income should be covered under the business and profession. The audit objection says that no, this income should be covered under the income from house property. So can the audit department guide this type of things here, or whether what is the scope of this type of information that the audit team will guide? Only when I feel that only when it is apparent from the record that law has not been followed by the AO.
Right, I agree, correct.
If the AO following the law has taken a different view,
then audit cannot. Yeah, you're right.
Then that audit cannot be, even though that view is against the department or in favor to the SSC, then the audit team should not come into the picture that you have not done in accordance with the law.
Right. Okay.
Okay, I'm coming to this one. Any information which requires action in consequences of the order of tribunal or court here. We have seen that information which suggests income chargeable to tax has escaped assessment. But here says any information which require action. So we have to understand which information which require action in consequences of the order of tribunal or court here. This means, take a case here, like right now here. We have seen that in the case of Ahmedabad urban dispensary, the Supreme Court has stated that for the purpose of qualifying into the section 2 sub clause 15, what should be the criteria? You should not engage in the business of commerce, or you should not be engaged into the commercial activity. You have got this information. Whether this information which requires the action in consequences of the order of tribunal or court, whether this action can be a triggering point for the purpose of 148 notice. My point is that what type of information? Again, we have to find out this information, any information which required action in consequences of the order of tribunal of the court. Like take a case, many acts like Ahmedabad urban, many charitable trust has lost the cases before the Supreme Court here. Can the department say, now I have got the Supreme Court judgment, you were doing the trading activity or commercial activity as per the Supreme Court judgment. Based on this, I will start now this is a information to me in terms of 148, and therefore since it is information to me, I am empowered to, or I will start the 148 proceeding or 147 proceeding investigation. My point will be something a bit shaky here. If that is the situation here, then no case will take the complete to reach to a finality here. Any information which requires action in consequence of the order of a tribunal, so very much important, each consequences word, which any require in consequences of the order of tribunal or court. If in your case here, if the SSC own case, it find that this SSC was not complying the law, based on that part, you can do it here. But whether the AO can do in case of other cases here, because here it says that for the purpose of this section and section 148, the information with the SSC, we suggest the income chargeable to tax has escaped assessment. The information in the case of SSC, in the one, it was talking about the information in the case of SSC. In the two, audit objection to the effect that assessment in the case of the SSC. Third, information received under this agreement in section 90 to 90, it is not mentioned in the case of SSC. So whether it is not mentioned in the case of SSC, whether it gives a wider direction. Fourth, any information made available to the assessing officer under this scheme notified under 135A, whether any information can lead that in case of any SSC or any information which required the action in consequences of the order of tribunal or court, whether this information can be qua the any other person, or it should be qua the SSC here itself. My understanding that still it has to be qua the SSC here. Why I'm trying to say, the information for this purpose, we can go to the proviso clause. Proviso clause says that no notice under this section shall be issued unless there is information with the assessing officer which suggests that the income chargeable to tax has escaped assessment in the case of this. There are two things which comes out: information qua the SSC or income escapement qua the SSC. It is important that income should be escapement qua the SSC, that yes, it is the SSC income which has escaped here. But whether it is important that information should also be received qua the SSC, or income can be, or the information can be received other than qua the SSC also. So my understanding comes here, can we read that it is should be in the case of 3, 4, 5 also, it should be in the case of SSC that should be read here? Or can we say, no, in the case of SSC cannot be read here? By way of the prelim reading, it comes out that the word in the case of SSC has not been mentioned here. But if we see the whole scheme, can we exclude that? Then no, 3, 4, 5 can go beyond this also. Can go beyond this part also. Now coming to the
Perhaps can go beyond the part also, na?
yes.
Take a case of Mansukh dying.
Yeah.
In case of partnership firm, they have said any revaluation it will amount to transfer. So if suppose that is the information from the court, that can be applied in other cases also. And particularly, I miss in this clause, word SSC is absent. Don't you think so?
Yes, sir. In the quad 3, 4, 5, in the case of SSC is absent, sir.
Yeah.
So the point is arising here. This means 3, 4, 5 can be in any other cases. If
that's why we are discussing about the court and the order of the court or the tribunal.
Yeah.
So in case for as giving the example of Mansukh dying. So if that information comes, if there is a revaluation, it amounts to transfer. In other cases also, that information, on that basis of information, it can be reopened.
My understanding then what will happen? It will lead to a quite wide and wider.
Okay.
My understanding that if we read like this one here, it will open to a wide amplitude here. Then what will happen? The AO will keep on receiving the information from the other cases here. Like if that is situation, sir, take a case, sir. Now, in the case of Ahmedabad, Durban, there is a certain decision has been done, sir.
Yeah.
Based on that decision, the AO can start the 148 proceedings. Can he say any information which required action in consequence of the order of a tribunal or court? Can he say that now the Ahmedabad urban case has been decided? Now, based on this judgment, I understand that your income should not be covered under the 215, and therefore you should be subject to tax, and you have escaped assessment. My understanding that if we read the law like this, it can give a wide amplitude here. But let's see, understand what the others in this one, what the court says here. For the purpose of this section, where after that there is few of the discussion is there, what should be done, what should be not done here. I will come to this part subsequently. Let's discuss more important part is that 148A. Because 148A has come in pursuance of the earlier Supreme Court judgment in the case of GK and Tribesat 259 ITR 19. In the law, when the budget was, when the Finance Act 2021 came here, it was in memorandum that by way of this enactment, by way of this, the Supreme Court judgment in the GK and Tribesat has been applicable or have become in the statute, has come into the statute. So all the process which is the GK and drivers have stated, that has come, now it has been codified under the law. And if it has been codified under the law, we should understand the aspect of this part here, because 148A is important. Now, as of now, many of the order which the High Court has recently passed in the last couple of months, or I will say that last 1 year, after Ashish Agarwal, after May 2022 to March 2023, many of the judgments which the High Court has passed is on the process of the 148A only. If we understand the process of the 148A, then we will find that there are many cases where the AO has not followed the process of the 148A, and therefore the whole process of the 148 can be subject to or can be set aside, or the order of the 148AD can be passed here. Let's see what is the part here. 148A says the assessing officer shall, before issuing the notice under this section. So it talks about before issuing the notice, the assessing officer shall, before issuing the notice under section 148. So 148 will operate only when the AO has to issue the notice under 148. If the AO has not required to issue the notice under 148, then the 148A will not trigger. Like in the case of, we have seen, if the AO comes to the notice or notice that certain income was escaped assessment, or AO comes to the notice during the proceeding, once 148 has started and during the proceeding, the AO comes to the notice that certain other income was there, then in this situation, he is not required to follow the procedure of the 148A. This means in that situation, 148 will also not require. So let's see what is the law says here. The assessing officer shall, very much important, the AO shall, before issuing any notice under section 148, what he says here. The assessing officer shall, before issuing any notice under 148, if he has to issue, it is qua the assessing officer and it is mandatory. Before issuing the notice under section 148, what he has to do? Conduct an inquiry if required. So, conduct an inquiry if required with the prior approval of the specified authority with respect to information which suggests that the income chargeable to tax has escaped assessment. We have seen that there is a 5-part here of the income chargeable to, we have seen that these are the 5 parts on which he has to do the mandatory inquiry here. So conduct an inquiry, but it says if required. It does not mean that he has to mandatorily conduct an inquiry. Then can we understand that when the situation will be there, where the AO is not required to do the inquiry, whether it is a subjective or whether it is an objective here. I feel that it is a very much subjective part here. If the AO understands that, no, he has sufficient information, and this information, it gives something quite live relationship with the income which has already escaped the assessment here, then he may not drill down further. So therefore, we have to understand under which situation it's a conduct an inquiry if required. So it is a discretionary on the part of the assessee. The situation arises here. Can the CBT provide any guidelines here? I feel that CBT should not provide any guidelines. The CBT should only provide an SOP that if you are required to do the inquiry, what are the steps that you should do it here. However, I have seen in few of the judgment or few of the High Court order that we will discuss in the next couple of 10 minutes or like this one here, because we have already 5:45, where we will discuss that the court has said that inquiry is mandatory here. But how we will see, let's see, and how we will discuss this part, let's see. Second part takes what? Provide an opportunity of being heard to the assessee. It says that provide an opportunity of being heard to the assessee. Very much important. This means giving an opportunity to heard to the assessee is important. How the heard will take place here? Whether the heard can be take place through the reply of the notice under 148AC, or it can be done through the video conferencing, or it can be through the personal appearance also. My understanding that it can be through the personal appearance also. If the AO has, because it says that opportunity of being heard to the SSC. This means if the AO should give the opportunity of being heard to the SSC. It is not required that a SSC should ask. Many cases I have seen that SSC didn't ask for the opportunity, and SSC simply replied the under 148AC. Whether we can argue that even though I have not asked any opportunity, it is a mandate by the law that the AO has to provide an opportunity. It is opportunity of being heard to the SSC. It is not only simply stated opportunity to reply the so-called notice, is the opportunity to heard the SSC here. So we can argue this part here that the opportunity of being heard is a mandate under the statute here. How under the face-to-face assessment or how under the face-to-face procedure, the face-to-face scheme incorporate this part, we have to see this part here. By serving upon.
Is there any judgment on this? How the opportunity of hearing should be given? Under
No,
one.
there is judgment in this part that opportunity of heard has to be given.
Yeah.
But I didn't find any judgment whether this opportunity of being heard will be through the video conferencing or through the personal hearing. In one of the judgment, I can recall that it was through the personal hearing, it was mentioned that part here.
Okay.
Because
you have noted those judgments?
Yes, I have covered this part here in the judgment part. I will come to this part here.
Okay.
And one more important thing is that.
Acha, you are saying only 10 minutes are left, but only you have got material only for 10 minutes, or
No.
My view will be because the things are going very well, very smoothly, so it can be carried forward also.
Yes, we will carry forward, sir. We will carry forward. I'm not saying that I will close by 6 here. I can continue with this because my material is much more. I have not covered many things right now.
No, I'm not saying today only. I'm not necessarily today. I'm saying next every Thursday if you are having. Next Thursday also it can be left to you and to the other members. But, what I'm saying is in the next lecture also it can be, because so many things are remaining.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So let's see this part here, 148. This is the scheme of the 148 here. So it says that providing opportunity of being heard to the SSC by serving upon a notice to show cause within such time. So the service of the show cause is important here. Many cases it has been seen that 148A B notice has been prepared, but it has not been issued here. So the important point, the service of the is important by serving upon him, very much important. It should be served upon the SSC. We have seen that it has been served to the deceased SSC. So the service of the deceased SSC will not be valid here. Service upon him, a notice to show cause. So what should be the notice? A show cause. Within such time as may be specified in the notice, being not less than 7 days, but not exceeding 30 days from the date on which such notice is issued. So there is a timeline that within such period, minimum period should be the 7 days or maximum 30 days here. But that 30 days can also be extended here, as may be extended on the basis of an application on his behalf. But these 30 days, the external time period, 30 days can be extended only on the application by the SSC, not suo motu by the AO. As to why a notice under 148 should not be issued on the basis of information, we suggest that income chargeable to tax has escaped assessment in each case. Very much important. I'm trying to say in each case. This means he may have received the information in other case also, but from this information he has to extract that there is a escapement of income in each case here, and therefore when 148AC is making here, he has to point out that it is a his case, there is a escapement of why the 148A notice should be issued. Therefore, this 148AB should not be vague, should not be anything which is surmises on conjecture. it should be a firm one. Should be issued, doctor, it should not be issued on the basis of information. So this notice should be based on the information which suggests that the income chargeable to tax has escaped assessment in the case, in his case. Very much important, it should be his case for the relevant assessment here. And result of inquiry conducted, if any, as per the dispensation. So if he conducts any inquiry, then he has to provide the copy of the inquiry report that yes, these are the results of the inquiry. But suppose that any investigation department has done some inquiry, whether he is supposed to provide this inquiry, my understanding, yes, even though the inquiry has been done by some other department, investigation team here, even though he has to provide this report of the investigation team, because in the case of Dibya, the Delhi High Court has stated that you have not provided the report of the investigation team. So therefore, this notice under 148AB should be quashed here. So we have to understand this, even though it says that inquiry in this one says result inquiry conducted, if any, as per the clause A. If you read the clause A, it says that clause A conduct an inquiry by the AO. But here, if the inquiry has been conducted by some investigation team here, and he has sent the simplicity and information, and based on this information, AO has proceeded for the 148AB. In that situation, the AO should give the copy of that inquiry report which the investigation has taken place. That should be also part of it. Point number, I am coming to the C. Consider the, now in this part here, in the 148B, there are many judgments which says that if the timeline which is given is less than 7 days, then also the order has been passed, 148AB notice has been passed, or 148D notice has been set aside. So main argument, main judgment in the recent past is that main order by the High Court is on the process of the 148A itself here. Consider the reply of the SSC furnished, if any. Consider the reply of the SSC furnished, if any. Very much important. If the SSC furnished the reply, then that should be mandatorily considered in response of the so-called notice in response to this. So the reply should be qua the 148AB notice here. It should not be any other reply. So can we say that earlier there was a 133.6 in my case here, I have furnished that reply, or can we say that you also consider that reply? We will see that how it has to be seen here. So consider this reply, so-called notice, referred to in clause B. D talks about decide. So here it is a decision part is coming. This decision is the moment it is a deciding part is coming, since the AO is a quasi-judicial authority here, so he has to take care of all the material which is there. He has to judicially, he has to decide here. Decide. What is the decide? On the basis of material available on the record. Very much important. What is the material available on the record here? What is the record? And what is the material available on the record? This material available on the record may be the assessment proceeding, maybe the record which was there at the time of assessment proceeding, or any other proceedings that has come subsequently. So he has to find out, he has to decide on the material available on the record. How he has, so there can be situation, whatever the record that he has to consider. This means he has to take a wholesome call that whatever the material that is available on the record, that should be considered, including reply of the SSC. Including reply of the SSC. Whether or not it is a fit case to issue the notice under 148. So at this level of 148A-D, it is just giving a fitment reply that yes, it is a fit case for the purpose of 148 notice. It is not giving that yes, that this income has already escaped the assessment or this has not been escaped the assessment. It is only simply says that this, at this stage, it is a fit case to issue the notice under 148. It does not say it is the fit case for the purpose of 147. It does not say, it is only saying that it is the fit case for the purpose of 148 by passing an order. So he is a quasi-judicial authority. He is passing an order. So only he is not deciding, but they are deciding, and after that he is passing an order. The order, when the moment is the order passing, the order should be in writing here, with the prior approval of the specified authority. That order has to be passed with the prior approval of the assessing authority or specified authority within 1 month from the end of the month in which the reply referred to in clause C is received by him, or if the reply is received within 1 month from the end of the month in which he received, or where no such reply has been furnished, within 1 month from the end of the month in which such reply, in which such time or extended time allowed to furnish a reply as per the clause be expired. Suppose that you ask the extended time, but within the extended time you didn't file the reply. Then that within 1 month from the date it expired, that he can go for the 148(8)(d) order here. So these are the mainly scheme for the purpose of 148 to 148(8)(d). After that, there is a proviso clause. In the proviso clause, it says that what are the circumstances where the 148(a) will not apply. So the proviso clause itself says that the above procedure of the 148(a) will not apply in these type of 4 cases that we have discussed. If there's 4 situation is there, 148(a) will not apply. But these are not 4 cases. One more cases that we have discussed in the 147, it says that 5 cases in the case of the 148(a) will not apply. Explanation. I will come to these 5 cases subsequently. Explanation. For the purpose of this section, a specified authority means a specified authority referred to in section 151. 151 is that sanction. For the purpose of this section, a specified authority means a specified authority referred to in section 151. After that, there is a timeline. We will discuss about the timeline part here. Timeline, we will just discuss generally. We know that there is a 3-year, and after that is a 10-year. Maximum timeline is 10 years. How to understand the 3-year or 10-year? Whether in understanding the 3-year or 10-year, any TOLA issue will come into this play. There are one judgment here, where in the case of, we have covered this part, that say that the TOLA will not come into the picture here. The TOLA will not go into effect here. We will see that this part here. No notice under 148 shall be issued. Earlier we have seen that, sir, it has said that issued for the relevant assessment here. If 3 years have been elapsed from the end of the relevant assessment year, unless the case falls under clause B. This means whether in all the cases 3 years is there, or can we say any issue can be started within the 3 years, or any notice can be issued within the 3 years. My point is that even though it is within the 3 years, there are restrictions. So what is the restriction? There should be information. This information from these 5 sources, and this information should suggest that the income chargeable to tax has escaped assessment in the case of the assessee. Unless these 3 conditions are satisfied, even though it is within the 3 years, it cannot be started here. The situation arises. The second situation arises here. I have to see this part here. 139(8). Whether the 139(8) extended updated return, where is any bar on the 139(8), where the notice under 148 has been issued, or we have just 1 minute, sir. Rahul, Karthik, is there any bar under 139(8)?
Sir, I guess there is a 2-year time barring. If you allow, I'll just check and update.
No. I'm
2 years from the receiving of the notice.
no. I don't find here. I have to check it that yeah, I don't find that is a bar under 139(8)(a). 139(a) says provided the subsection shall not apply, provided no person shall be eligible to furnish the updated return, the search has been initiated, the survey has been conducted, a notice has been issued to the money biller, a notice has been issued to the 132 for the assessment year unless the provision for which search has been issued, provided no updated return shall be furnished by any person relevant to where updated return has been furnished, the updated return has been furnished by him under this subsection. The proceeding under the assessment or reassessment or recomputation or revision of the under this is pending or as completed by the relevant assessment in this case here. So it says that any proceeding for the assessment, reassessment or recomputation or revision or income under this act is pending here. So when this says that it will be pending after issuance of 148 notice or the moment you receive the 148(a)(b) notice, can you say that now I have filed the updated return? So there is no case that this income should be considered. Any other view? So come to the 149. It says that if 3 years has been elapsed, and if more than 3 years, there is a very much stringent condition in the more than 3 years. If 3 years but not more than 10 years have elapsed from the end of the relevant assessment, unless the assessing officer has in possession. So we have discussed this part in the 147. When the AO should be in his possession here, it does not say it should have only information. If he should be in his possession, what should have possession? Books of account. If he should be possession, books of account or other document or evidence. The first time it is coming evidence here. Books of account, other documents or evidence here, which reveals very much word. It does not suggest, reveals. The degree of suggestion is at the lower part here. But when you take to the reveal, this means there is a compelling you, it is giving you clear direction that yes, this income has been escaped here, which reveals that the income chargeable to tax represented in the form of, then what is the income chargeable tax in the representation? An asset. Any expenditure in respect of transaction or in relation to an event or occasion, an entry or entries in the books of account, which has escaped assessment, amount or is likely to amount to rupees 15 lakh rupees or more. Very much how to understand the word, an amount, escaped assessment, amounts or likely to be amount of 50 lakh rupees or more. So likely to be, how to interpret that likely to be? This means he has to ensure that this amount will be more than 50 lakh rupees. The moment it is less than 50 lakh rupees, he should not, this clause B will not be invoked here. Okay. Come to the judgment here. Judgment, can we come to the judgment here? Yes, important. I'm coming to the, yes, important court judgment, important court development. Notice under 148 issued without signature, either manual or digital, whole proceeding will be quashed. This is the judgment which has come here. No vesting of further jurisdiction. This is the case of the Prakash Krishnavatar Bhardwaj, ITO 451, ITR 27. Here the court has followed the VK Goi versus Aparna agency. The second part is that reassessment or the change of opinion, reassessment on the change of opinion. No phrase reassessment through the change of the opinion. No phrase tangible material, as we have discussed in the case of the Calvinator case here and other cases also, or Jindal cases is there. What should be the no phrase tangible material? Unless there is a phrase tangible material, even though these are the law which were applied in the case of the erstwhile provision, but by way of the court judgment, we are seeing that those earlier judgment are now being applied here also. So reassessment or change of the opinion, it says that no phrase material, no phrase material, no phrase tangible material, not permitted. This is the clear media case in the DCIT 451 ITR 36. Kamlesh Keshwani case, Delhi High Court, 451 ITR 152. Similar view was followed in the Asian case, 451 ITR 45, Saurashtra Infra, 451 ITR 51, Salon Silk Hair, 451 ITR 184. So what you are seeing that all those change of opinion cases, which was for the purpose of the earlier law, now it is being applied for the purpose of new law also. Notice issued to the strike of company is valid. Ravindra Kumar Agarwal, because the striking off does not take away the company, the company does not cease to exist, only it does not, it is already on the register, only strike off here. That strike off can be removed under the Companies Act here. So there is no bar issuing the notice to a strike off company, because the moment it is a strike off, the striking off is through the process of the law, and it can be this company can be removed from the register of a striking off by process of the law. So therefore the company remains, the company still exists. There is no case the company ceased to exist, and therefore the notice will be valid. Just we have discussed about the limitation part. TOLA not applicable for sanction under 151. GM Financial versus Investment Consulting Service 451 ITR 205. Assessment year 15-16. In this case, what has happened? The case was 15-16. This one's here, and the approval was taken by the additional commissioner. So we know that in the erstwhile law, this one, the additional commissioner can give only up to the 3 years. Only up to the 3 years. After the 3 years, the senior authority has to be given here. The department argued that since since it was a TOLA, therefore the period of up to 30 from 19 to 20 can be extended by way of TOLA. The court has come down that the TOLA were applicable where in the case limitation was expiring on 31st of March 2020. In this case, the limitation was expiring on 31st March 2022. So these cases should not be covered under the TOLA, and therefore the sanction which was done not by the proper authority makes the whole proceeding as invalid here. And is this the same judgment was followed, or the similar issue was came in the Ma Multi India case reported on 451 ITR, and on the same line, it was on the same line. Can we go to the next slide here?
Prakash bhai,
Yes.
What is the fate of notice issued for assessment year 14-15? Issued issued after 31st March 2021.
There are various High Court judgment, and recent judgment of the Kinara of the Gujarat High Court says that notice of 14-15, which was notice after 31st March 2021 pertaining to the assessment year 14-15 is not a good notice. It is an invalid notice, and they have caused all the notices here.
So they caused all the notices.
All the notices in the Gujarat, they have already caused the notices.
And according to you, what should be the last date for assessment year 15-16?
Look, 15-16 case is a different on the different footing here. 15-16 cases that should come to you, because the under the 15-16 cases, the limitation was expiring on 31st March 2022.
22, yes.
So it was prior, this means after 1st April 2021. The moment it was expiring on 31st March 2022, therefore, it can be, if it is less than 3 years, then it cannot be open because it was 2019 here. If it is more than 3 years or the
up to 10 years,
then it can be open for up to 10 years here.
What is your opinion about the assessing officer only having a bank statement in which they have some information like somebody has deposited, say, 1 CR in account? So will it be a valid material to open the assessment? Because in new provisions, they say the income, the material should suggest that the income should reveal that the income has escaped assessment for more than 50 lakh rupees. If it is 1 CR has been deposited, it can be from any source. So will it be a valid ground for an assessing officer to open the case in this case?
If you come to the 149(1)(b), it talks about if 3 years, but not more than 10 years have elapsed from the end of the relevant assessment year, unless the assessing officer in his possession of the books of account. So very much important, whether the books of account was in possession of the books of account or other document or evidences. So there is a bank statement which is say that it is evidence which has come to his possession here, which reveals that the income chargeable to tax represented in the form of, very much important is that income chargeable to tax represented in the form of an asset. So what is the term of an asset? If you go to the term explanation of the 149, it says that for the purpose of clause B of subsection, assets shall include immovable property, being land or building or both, or share or securities, loan advances, deposit in the bank account. So
now, what do you mean by deposit in bank account? Suppose I had deposited 1 CR in the bank, and this in the same financial year, say I can say that okay, in a multiple of the transactions, the amount has been deposited, and in multiple transactions, the amount has been withdrawn also. So what do you mean by deposit? Will you take only the credit entry?
Look,
without considering the debit?
No. Without considering the debit or like this one here, I'm not putting on this one here. It says that deposit in the bank account. It does not say deposit and withdrawal in the bank account here. Take a case here. You have suppose that you have deposited 10 crore rupees in the bank account, and in the same year you have withdrawn 9.99 crore, or like this one you have withdrawn from this bank account here.
Sorry, Prakash bhai, my AirPod got disconnected, so I just lost the last few seconds. Please repeat.
Take a case, sir. You have deposited in there is a 1 crore rupee deposit in your bank account. Okay, in your case here, and subsequently you have in the same or next day you have withdrawn 99 lakh rupees here. 99 lakh rupees. Okay.
Yes.
Can you say that no? My deposit should be considered net of the 1 crore minus 99 lakh rupees. Okay. My view is not the same here. My view is that it should be the purpose of the act is that what is the deposit in the bank account, that whether that is sufficient to consider that whether there was an income chargeable to tax or not here. At the time of notice, okay, he may consider 1 crore rupees, because I don't think that there is a bar of considering that he should not consider 1 crore rupees. He may consider the 1 crore rupees, but during the assessment stage here, you can prove that although I have deposited 1 crore rupees, but 99 lakh rupees or whatever the 1 crore rupees there was for some other person that was paid to the other person here. Okay, so it was not my income here. So so therefore during the assessment stage you can get rid of here. But at the time of it is the issue where we are discussing the information stage. It is discussing at the notice stage, because at the notice stage, whether he should go into the detail, whether the debit, credit, and he should ask that whether he has given or this one here, or you can say that one view can be there. If the moment he asks the 1 crore rupees, you can say that after 1 crore rupees, I have this 1 crore rupees was not to me, but 1 crore rupees I have paid to some other person. But you should consider this debit part also. Okay, this means here. Hello.
Yes. One more question. I have got the notice under section 147. And AO has considered only credit portion of the bank statement. Only information available with the AO is bank statement. Or in the notice, he has mentioned the credit amount, total credit amount. But a small amount has become the big amount. Simultaneously, withdrawal has been done. Or there is a transfer of the funds from the genuine agency, genuine seller or supplier of the goods. When I made the argument, you have the full information of the credit amount, simultaneously you should have the information of the debit amount from where money has been remitted. Is it the right case to reopen the case only on the basis of the credit amount, not the debit amount?
Look, I will say,
Sir, tell me a small sum, cash sum, become a big amount during the whole year.
no, I'm trying to
Or
say,
let's consider the whole amount in a year in totality. Is it the right?
yes, may I reply, sir?
Yes, sir. Prakash bhai, please carry on.
My understanding that once you have received the 148AB notice, okay, please reply thoroughly that out of this 1 crore rupees, you have made the payment to A, B, C, D, this one's here. So therefore, this 1 crore rupees should not be treated as your income. It should not be your income. The moment you reduce this part here, okay, then you will find that, and you can say that out of this one, I have paid all the 1 crore rupees, nothing was there with my income, or I have a income was 1 lakh rupees here. Then you can also argue that since my case was less than 50 lakh rupees, so therefore the extended limitation should not be applied in my case here. This means there are two arguments is getting developed here. First argument is that the AO should consider what AO should consider income chargeable to tax. How the income will be considered? Income has to be considered based on the part that it is not only the credit entry, but it should be considered debit entry also. So first part is that this income, this should be considered here, because there are certain judgment on this part here. I will show you there is a judgment of the High Court itself here, where it says that the amount which was considered by the AO was not the correct amount. Thus, the High Court has said that only this much amount can be considered, and the moment it can be considered, only this much amount can be considered. It has not crossing the limit of 50 lakh rupees. The moment it is not crossing the 50 lakh rupees, you cannot invoke the extended period of limitation of 10 years.
Yeah. But more surprising is that in the same circuit, same jurisdiction, there are two ITOs, two assessing officers. One officer is taking the view and the estimated percentage on the total turnover, profit, and the second ITO, second AO is taking the different view. It is considering undisclosed income under section 169 or actually assessment origin past. Is it right thing there two different under the same circle, same jurisdictions are being taken the different view on the same nature of case?
You please, it is better to reply this 148B notice, and when we reply to the 148B notice, and if still the AO consider that no, the only credit entry has to be taken here, then at that time you can file a writ before the High Court, and you can plead this matter before the High Court that only
I filed the appeal, taking this plea. Under the same jurisdictions, two ITOs, two AOR, taking the different views and the same nature of case.
No, that will not be a good argument, sir. That will not be a good argument. Don't color your case with any other case. Your fact may be different. Your fact may be different.
No. Fact is not different. It is same nature of case.
I understand.
Facts are totally similar.
Sir, your points is valid. There is no uniformity in the action taken by the different AO, but that cannot be made sure, na? The different AOs have different perspectives. Every professional has different view.
I'm telling my personal view matters here.
No, that should not be the case. High Court has also mentioned in few cases.
What I think as a AO is right. A different ITO is thinks also right. So where is it law?
No,
I'm talking about the law, where law stands here. Who is right?
What I will suggest you that what you should plead before the court here. Don't plead any other case before the court here. Yeah. You plead your case saying that my deposit was 10 crore rupees. Out of this 10 crore rupees, I have already paid 9.9 crore or whatever the amount has been paid. there is no balance in my bank account here. So therefore, there is no income which should be considered as a chargeable to tax in my case here. Based on this argument, you should advance your argument like this one.
प्रकाश भाई इस एग्जांपल को अगर थोड़ा सा ट्विस्ट करते हैं, लेट्स से कि 1 करोड़ की प्रॉपर्टी बिकी थी, एओ के पास इंफॉर्मेशन आया कि 1 करोड़ का प्रॉपर्टी सेल आउट हुआ है और उसने हमारा केस ओपन कर दिया, तो क्या यहाँ पर उसकी जिम्मेदारी नहीं बनती थी इंक्वायरी करना? बिकॉज जो एक्ट कहता है 148A जो कहता है,
बिल्कुल आई एम एग्री विद यू,
इंक्वायरी करना, उसके बाद शो कॉज करना एसएससी को। अच्छा, उन्होंने जो हमारे 148AB के अगेंस्ट जो हमने जितने भी रिप्लाई दिए हैं, उनको स्पीकिंग ऑर्डर इशू करना था, उन्होंने तो कोई ऑर्डर किया ही नहीं है, बस उन्होंने तो एक ऑर्डर किया, इसे फिट केस पर 148।
वो ये सारे केस जो है रिट में जाने से, रिट में एक बार में सारे ऑर्डर मिल जाएंगे सर।
प्रकाश जी मैं आपको, प्रकाश जी मैं यह बता रहा हूँ, मैंने आर्गुमेंट किया एक एओ से कि मैंने कहा कि आप जो बैंक से स्टेटमेंट लेते हो तो साथ साथ आपके पास ये भी इंफॉर्मेशन, आपके पास कंप्लीट इंफॉर्मेशन है कि पैसा कहाँ कहाँ रिमिट हुआ, कहाँ कहाँ डेबिट हुआ, और ये अकाउंट के थ्रू डीडी बनकर गया, आरटीजीएस गया, एनईएफटी गया। इसका मतलब आप ऑर्डर जब पास कर रहे हो तो आपके पास फुल इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं थी, आपने सिर्फ वन साइडेड ध्यान दिया है। आप सिर्फ बैंक स्टेटमेंट के आधार पर क्रेडिट अमाउंट को कंसीडर किया है और उसको मान लिया अनडिस्क्लोज इनकम।
यस सर,
है ना? आपके पास ये भी इंफॉर्मेशन है, जब आप बैंक का स्टेटमेंट आप ले सकते हो तो बैंक से भी पूछ सकते हो कि पैसे कहाँ कहाँ गए हैं, और फिर पैसे वापस आए सेल प्रोसीड्स के रूप में, अब फिर ये पैसे कहीं और भी गए। तो आप देखो कि एक ही एजेंसी से पैसे जा रहे हैं, फिर वो जो अब फिर ये भी आपके पास इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं है कि किस चीज में वो डील कर रहा है, क्या वो गवर्नमेंट ऑन कंपनी के साथ डील कर रहा है, क्या वो कंपनी आईओसी का ऑथराइज डीलर है, भारत पेट्रोलियम का, किसका है, किसी एजेंसी का है, पैसे जा कहाँ रहे हैं, ये तो ये को कंफर्म होना चाहिए ना। मैं ये कह रहा हूँ, मतलब he is not having complete information, only the partial information assessment is done। मैं ये कह रहा हूँ आपको,
मैं आपको इसी बोल रहा हूँ कि ऐसे जितने भी 148AD के ऑर्डर है ना, जो कि नॉन स्पीकिंग है, जिसमें उसने आपके सबमिशन को नहीं लेकर आया है, वो सब सारा को आप रिट में जाकर के आप चैलेंज कर सकते हैं, और रिट कोर्ट जो है, हाई कोर्ट जो है, वो सारे 148AD के नोटिस को पास कर रही है।
अच्छा, उस सिचुएशन में हम कितना टाइम अज्यूम करें प्रकाश भाई?
क्या चीज?
रिट में मतलब टोटल कितना टाइम मान के चलें कि हमें लग जाएगा ऑर्डर लेने में?
मैक्सिमम 10 डेज, मैक्सिमम 7 to 10 days, 7 days।
अच्छा, मैक्सिमम।
मैं ये यहाँ थोड़ा सा से डिफर कर रहा हूँ, ये डिफरेंट हाई कोर्ट की डिफरेंट स्थिति बन रही है। जैसे मैं जस्ट आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट द पटना हाई कोर्ट, उसके लिस्ट में आने में महीनों लग जा रहे हैं।
नहीं तो आपको वहां की नहीं बात कर रहा हूँ,
मेंशन भी कर रहा हूँ तब भी
नहीं, अब मैं तो दिल्ली की बात कर रहा हूँ। दिल्ली में मैंने हम लोग ने जितने भी अपना रिट डालते हैं, अगले 3-4 दिन में रिट आ जाता है, और एटलीस्ट हम लोग तो स्टे और जो है उस नोटिस का इफेक्ट नहीं हो, वो तो कम से कम आ ही जा रहा है पहले ऑर्डर में।
तो क्या मैंडेमस ही फाइल होगा इसमें?
हाँ, मैंडेमस फाइल होगा सर।
ठीक है, मैं इस बारे में आपसे बात करता हूँ पर्सनली।
हाँ, और इसको मेंशनिंग करके करवा सकते हैं, बिकॉज ये मैटर आपका है।
मुझे थोड़ा सा एक क्लियर और कर दे, दरअसल हो क्या रहा है कि आपने असेसमेंट ऑर्डर एक्स पार्टी पास कर दिया, और ये देखिए हो क्या रहा है कि मैंने किसी ने कोई वकील था, वकील के पास सब कुछ पासवर्ड होता है, सब कुछ होता है, वो देखता है, किसी फिर दूसरे के पास वो चले गए, उसने दिया, रिसीप्ट वो एक्स पार्टी ऑर्डर पास हुआ, 2-3 साल के बाद उसे ये पता चला नोटिस के जरिए, जब डिमांड नोटिस आई कि इस तरह के डिमांड है, और पहले इसकी नोटिस हुई थी, ऑर्डर पास हो चुका है एक्स पार्टी, उस केस में ये जो डिले है उसको कैसे हम लोग वो करें?
नहीं तो वो उस केस में आपका रीजनेबल कॉज है कि आपका पहले कोई कंसल्टेंट दूसरा था, आपका जो रीजनेबल कॉज में आप उसको फैक्ट को डेवलप करना पड़ेगा, और उसके बाद वो प्लीड करना पड़ेगा, देन कोर्ट जो है डिले को कंडोन करेगी सर। जो आपका
तो ये अपील, तो ये पहले अपील में जाए या रिट में चले जाए उसको लेके?
नहीं, देखिए अपील और रिट दोनों अलग अलग सिचुएशन है सर, मैं बात करूँ सर।
जी
अपील में हम जाते हैं किसी ऑर्डर के आउटकम के अगेंस्ट में, ठीक है ना, दिस मीन्स आपका कोई एडिशन हो गया उसके अगेंस्ट में जाते हैं, और हम रिट में जाते हैं उस प्रोसेस को चैलेंज करते हैं। क्या प्रोसेस को चैलेंज करते हैं कि साहब मैंने अपना ऑब्जेक्शन दिया था, इन्होंने ऑब्जेक्शन को डिस्पोज नहीं किया, इस ऑब्जेक्शन को डिस्पोज नहीं करने से मेरा जो नेचुरल जस्टिस है वो मेरा नहीं मिला मुझे, देयरफॉर आई एम एग्रीइंग हियर, आई एग्रीड हियर, सो देयरफॉर मैं आर्टिकल 226 में जाकर के मैं अपना राइट को इन्वोक करता हूं इन द रीट हियर। सो द प्रोसेस ऑफ रीट, हाँ
इसमें जो मैंने आपको बताया अभी कि
हाँ
वो नोटिस में नहीं आया किसी के और वो अननोटिस रह गया, उस केस में मुझे अपील प्रेफर करना चाहिए या रीड करना चाहिए?
आप इस केस में आप अपील फाइल कीजिए विथ कंडोनेशन ऑफ डिले, आपका अपील आपका कंडोनेशन ऑफ डिले अलाउड हो जाएगा।
थैंक यू।
ये 15-16 का जो उन्होंने बताया वो आप क्या बता रहे थे? 1415 to 31/3/16।
हाँ
हाँ
15 अगर 15-16 का है सर, तो 15-16 का अगर देखा जाए तो 15-16 का 6 साल खत्म हो रहा था 2022 में सर।
या
एक अप्रैल
अंडर द ओल्ड लॉ,
अंडर द ओल्ड लॉ।
हाँ
अब 1 अप्रैल 2021 से नया लॉ आ गया,
या
अब इसका मतलब अब नया लॉ अप्लाई होगा।
या
अब 15-16 का जो 3 इयर्स का पीरियड था वो तो 2019 में खत्म हो गया, 31 मार्च 2019 को खत्म हो गया।
या
तो वही केस कवर कर सकते हैं जो कि मोर देन 50 lakhs हो।
हाँ
तो अगर 15-16 का केसेस विच इज मोर देन 50 लाख रुपीस हो, only that case can be covered only, other than that case cannot be covered there।
नहीं तो
प्रकाश भाई,
6 साल,
हाँ हाँ
तो
प्लीज
6 साल का देखने का ही क्या है फिर? 6 साल का वाई वी आर सेइंग 31/3/22,
मैंने आपको
उसका कोई रिलेवेंस ही नहीं है ना फिर।
नहीं उसका कोई, मैंने पूरा आपको एग्जांपल से पूरा सेट करके बताया कि कैसे मैं पढ़ूंगा आगे।
ओके ओके, हाँ तो ये
प्रकाश भाई, मैं
हाँ हाँ प्लीज एक एक करके सर।
सॉरी सर, सॉरी प्लीज आप कंटिन्यू करें।
हाँ नहीं तो वही बोल रहा हूँ, तो 22 का 6 साल का देखना ही नहीं है। 1421 को न्यू लॉ आ जाता है, 19 में 3 साल खत्म हो जाते हैं, तो वो मोर देन 3 होगा, 50 lakhs होगा तो ही लगेगा।
बिल्कुल सर, बिल्कुल सर।
हाँ करेक्ट। एक और चीज था, वो थी नोटिस 50C वैल्यूएशन के लिए खाली, देयर इज नो अदर एस्केपमेंट, ओनली देयर इज अ डिफरेंस इन 50C वैल्यूएशन। प्रॉपर्टी बेची 50C वैल्यूएशन का ज्यादा है तो उसी के लिए रीओपन किया, वो कहाँ तक वैलिड है? यू गॉट मी?
आपका इशू क्या है कि देयर इज अ डिफरेंस,
देयर इज अ डिफरेंस इन स्टैम्प वैल्यूएशन,
हाँ
50C वैल्यूएशन,
हाँ
जो हमने कैपिटल गेन बताया वो कम था, स्टैम्प ड्यूटी का आपका जो सर्कल रेट है वो ज्यादा है, उसी के लिए रीओपन किया जा रहा है।
ठीक है सर।
हाँ, हाउ फार दैट इज करेक्ट?
and it is opening after 3 years or before or after 3 साल?
18-19 है तो आफ्टर 3 years,
18-19
मोर देन, हाँ वो देख लेते हैं, दोनों केस ले लेंगे।
हाँ
लेकिन हाँ
नाउ अब अगर उसके ऊपर से वर्क कर रहा है, नाउ अगेन वी कम एनी, जब भी हमारे पास कोई नोटिस आती है we will see कि वो 148 से कहां से उसको इंफॉर्मेशन मिला है। इंफॉर्मेशन
वो तो उनको रजिस्ट्रेशन ऑफिस से मिलता है ना।
नहीं तो whether the registration office will be covered here, let's see that 148 में।
प्रकाश भाई, मेरे हिसाब से तो ये वैलिड ओपनिंग है, क्योंकि उसके पास में एक इंफॉर्मेशन है, क्योंकि एक स्टैंप ड्यूटी अथॉरिटी जब उनको बता रही है कि इसकी सर्कल रेट ज्यादा है तो देयर इज अ डाउट, तो उसके पास में एक वैलिड रीजन है मेरे हिसाब से कि इसका वैल्यूएशन में इशू है।
सर
तो
अभी
मेरा
का जो
हम्बल ओपिनियन ये है कि ये वैलिड है।
सर अभी का जो
चेक करें प्लीज।
अभी का जो लॉ है सर ना, वो बोलता है वो एज पर दिस लॉ एक्सप्लेनेशन 1, you can have the information from the 5 sources only. Any information in the case of the SSC from the relevant assessment in accordance with the RMS.
हाँ वो लिमिटेशन भी है, राइट।
अगर वो RMS से आएगा डेटा तभी तो आ सकता है ना, you have to find out ये डेटा कहाँ से आ रहा है। उसके बाद है any audit objection, since इस केस में मेरे ख्याल से असेसमेंट हुआ होगा तो क्या ऑडिट ऑब्जेक्शन से निकल कर रहा है, you have to find out. Any information received under agreement under 90 or 98, अगर 1998 से आ रहा था तो ये केस उसमें फॉल नहीं कर रहा होगा। Any
आरएमएस में
information,
फॉल करेगा ना प्रकाश भाई, क्योंकि आरएमएस में तो वो उसको फ्लैश करेंगे ना इस इंफॉर्मेशन को। आरएमएस जो इनकी रिस्क मैनेजमेंट स्ट्रेटेजी है,
हाँ,
दिक्कत
हाँ,
ये है कि वो कोडिफाइड नहीं है, वो डिफाइंड नहीं है, हमें पता नहीं है वो कैसे चलती है वो। बट ये तो आरएमएस में रिफ्लेक्ट करेगा मेरे ख्याल में इसको।
I agree that it should be from the RMS here. And the point is that अगर ये RMS से निकल कर आ रहा है, then we have to get this information, how this information is coming here. Okay. How this information is coming here, we have to find out here. ये information कहाँ से आ रहा है? Now the issue is rising whether this information कि इन्होंने valuation कम किया था, if this information suggests that the income chargeable to tax has escaped assessment, then in this case, yes, the notice can be issued here.
आपका जो व्यू है ना प्रकाश भाई, मैं एग्री करता हूँ इससे। जो आपने भी जैसे बोला कि जो जैसे हम आप 22 का जो रीजन दे रहे थे, मैं समझ रहा हूँ उसका रीजन क्या है, क्योंकि जो प्रोविजो आया 149 का, वो प्रोविजो बोलता है कि अगर आपका उस पीरियड पे कोई केस ओपन नहीं हो सकता था ड्यू टू जो ओल्ड एक्ट है उसमें, तो वो अब नए एक्ट में भी ओपन नहीं होगा। दैट वाज अ टाइम बारिंग ना, जो हमारा पहले 6 साल की कंडीशन थी। इसीलिए 14-15 क्योंकि 31 मार्च 2021 को एक्सपायर खत्म हो रहा था, तो वो 1 अप्रैल 21 ऑनवर्ड ओपन ही नहीं हो सकता न्यू एक्ट के अंदर,
बिल्कुल
न्यू सेक्शन में ना। लेकिन जो कुछ लोगों का ये मत है, मैं भी नहीं समझ पाया कि वो कैसे है। उन्होंने हर पीरियड को 6 साल से ही कंटिन्यू किया, 15, 16, 16, 17। वो यही कह रहे हैं कि 15, 16, 22 में एक्सपायर हो जाएगा, 16, 17, 23 में एक्सपायर हो जाएगा, जबकि मेरे हिसाब से ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए। 1 अप्रैल के बाद न्यू प्रोविजन अगर लग गया तो हम 3 और 10 साल देखेंगे फिर, राइट?
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल सर। यू रीड द आशीष अग्रवाल जजमेंट, यू रीड द किनारा जजमेंट, सारे जजमेंट काफी क्लियर है सर।
किनारा के साथ में एक राजीव बंसल भी है, इलाहाबाद हाई कोर्ट।
जी हाँ सर।
हाँ, अच्छा,
वो इसी लाइन पे बोलती है ना?
या इसी लाइन पे बोलती है।
इनफैक्ट अभी एक मैं जजमेंट दिखाऊंगा जिसमें कि अभी 13-14 का जजमेंट ये है, असेसमेंट ईयर है, इसमें नोटिस एक दिन डिले हुआ है, तो कोर्ट ने उसको बोला कि सिंस नोटिस जो है 2 दिन डिले हो गया इसलिए वो टाइम बार हो गया। 13-14 का है वो, अभी आएगा सर।
अच्छा, ये 50C वैल्यूएशन के लिए मैं बोल रहा था।
जी हाँ
अभी
सर।
आप बोल रहे थे कि एस्केपमेंट तो है ही, लेकिन अभी एक रिसेंटली सुप्रीम कोर्ट का जजमेंट में कॉम्पेंसेशन के लिए है वो, कि कोई कॉम्पेंसेशन मांगने में एसएससी ने बोला उसमें ये इनकम टैक्स का केस नहीं है, तो उन्होंने बोला कि सपोज मेरा कॉम्पेंसेशन 1 लाख है लेकिन उसकी वैल्यू 5 लाख है, तो वो पार्टी ने बोला कि मुझे कॉम्पेंसेशन एज पर स्टैम्प ड्यूटी वैल्यूएशन दीजिए। तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट, एक नेमीचंद नाम का केस है, पूरा साइटेशन मैं आपको दूंगा, तो उसमें कहा है कि नो, दिस इज जस्ट ए गाइडलाइन वैल्यू। तो इससे एस्टीमेट, ये इट इज जस्ट ए एस्टिमेटेड वैल्यू, इट इज जस्ट ए गाइडलाइन वैल्यू, तो वो एस्केपमेंट कहाँ से होगा?
मैं आपकी बात को बिल्कुल समझ रहा हूँ सर। ये जो है ना, ये जो है, वी कैन टेक द प्ली दैट ये जो स्टाम्प ड्यूटी वैल्यू है, it is not a sacrosanct value. It is you cannot say that the income has been escaped here. Okay.
Yeah.
It is just a guidance for the purpose of registration only. Okay.
Correct.
और we can, अगर हम लोग इसको एक्चुअली प्रूव कर दे कि हमने जो सेल किया है ना, वो हमने स्टाम्प ड्यूटी वैल्यू से कम किया हुआ है, ठीक है ना, then the stamp duty value should not apply. This is the point which you are trying to drive here. Okay? I feel that you should get the relief here because जैसे आप 148A(b) का और आपके पास नोटिस आएगा, तो आप नोटिस में जब उसको रिप्लाई करेंगे तो ये सब सारे पॉइंट को रिप्लाई करना पड़ेगा हमें कि हमने सेल किया था, उस सेल का एक्चुअल पैसा इतना था, ऑल्दो स्टाम्प ड्यूटी वैल्यू हाई था, और जो हमने रियलाइज किया है इतना सिचुएशन था, और क्यों उस दिन को वैल्यू हमारा कम था। And let the AO let the assessing officer should apply his mind, consider this part here, जो और आपने जजमेंट भी कोट किया नेमचंद का, I have gone through the judgment. आप उसको साइड कर दीजिए, और उसके बाद let the AO should reply this one. If the AO still says, if the AO 99% क्या होता है, AO में से बोलेगा no, your reply is not acceptable here, or your reply is not correct here. Okay.
Yeah.
Then under that situation आप हाई कोर्ट जो है, हाई कोर्ट रिलीफ दे रहा है इस सब ग्राउंड में, और हाई कोर्ट बहुत अच्छी तरह रिलीफ दे रहा है, बोलते हैं कि नो, यू हैव टू कंसीडर ऑल दिस पार्ट हियर बिफोर कमिंग टू द इनकम।
राइट।
प्रकाश जी, एक बहुत आश्चर्यजनक जो चीजें मुझे देखने में मिली अभी,
हाँ।
जो मेरे केस में भी घटित हुई,
हम्म,
कि म्युनिसिपल लिमिट में आपके जो रेट जो सर्किल रेट है वो डिफरेंट होता है।
हम्म,
ठीक जहां म्युनिसिपल लिमिट खत्म होती है
हम्म,
वहां जो रेट होती है 10 टाइम्स, मतलब जो आपका 90% बिलो हो जाता है।
हम्म,
आप समझ लीजिए, जहां म्युनिसिपल लिमिट खत्म होती है, जहाँ मतलब जो मुझे 300 मीटर की दूरी भी नहीं होती है, जहाँ म्युनिसिपल लिमिट खत्म होती है, वहां उसकी जो कीमत होती है वो 5% हो जाती है, और जस्ट म्युनिसिपल लिमिट के अंदर 300 मीटर के अंदर उसकी वैल्यू 20 टाइम्स ज्यादा हो जाती है। तो लेकिन जो मार्केट जो रेट है बिल्कुल वो जो रूरल एरिया का मार्केट जो रेट है उसके बराबर वो होता है, लेकिन सर्किल रेट 20 टाइम्स ज्यादा है। ये क्या वैलिड पॉइंट नहीं है? अगर आर्गुमेंट हम करें कि नहीं भाई देखिए, जस्ट 300 मीटर की दूरी पर रूरल एरिया है, उस पर आपकी जो सर्किल रेट की वैल्यू इतनी है, मार्केट वैल्यू भी बहुत कम है, और जस्ट 300 मीटर के अंदर में आपकी मार्केट वैल्यू सर्किल रेट बहुत ज्यादा हो जाती है, ये कैसे है?
नहीं, आप इसको बाकायदा, ये बहुत अच्छा आर्गुएबल पॉइंट है सर। दैट द पॉइंट विच अभी जो हमने जजमेंट किया कि जो सर्किल रेट है, इट इज नो रिलेशनशिप विद द एक्चुअल सेल परचेज। उन्होंने कोई एक वैल्यू को डिसाइड किया हुआ है, वेयर द मार्केट इज फ्लक्चुएटिंग, मार्केट कैन बी बिलो और अप ऑल्सो, ठीक है ना। सो देयरफॉर देयर आर, आई फील दैट देयर आर सर्टेन जजमेंट ऑल्सो, एंड पर्टिकुलरली ये जो सर्किल रेट का था, ये जो मेजर लिया गया था, इट वाज एंटी अवॉइडेंस था ये। इफ वी हैव सर्टेन डॉक्यूमेंट्स एंड थ्रू द डॉक्यूमेंट अगर हम लोग ये प्रूव करते हैं कि एक्चुअल सेल परचेज मेरा यही वैल्यू में हुआ था, देन अंडर दैट सिचुएशन यू कैन अवॉइड दैट सर्किल रेट ऑल्सो। और मेरे ख्याल से उसमें एक और इशू भी है कि अगर आपने उसको कोई पहले बैंक से कोई ट्रांजेक्शन किया हुआ है, मेरे ख्याल से 50C में है ना सर, कि अगर आपने बैंक से अगर कोई चेक इशू किया हुआ है, देन तो सर जिस दिन आपने एग्रीमेंट किया है वो डेट आप लिया जाएगा, ना कि आपका एक्चुअल डेट लिया जाएगा।
करेक्ट, वो तो डेट ऑफ
इसमें भाई
एग्रीमेंट।
हाँ,
इसमें भाई प्रोविजन भी है प्रकाश भाई कि अगर आप इसको ना दो जगह ऑब्जेक्ट कर सकते हैं। अगर मान लीजिए मेरा सर्कल रेट, मैं कहता हूँ कि एक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी का रेट ये नहीं है, तो सबसे पहले तो मैं रजिस्ट्रार के सामने इसको ऑब्जेक्ट कर सकता हूँ कि जो आपने मेरा सर्कल रेट निकाला है ये एक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी का मार्केट रेट से मैच नहीं कर रहा है। और
बिल्कुल
दूसरा
बिल्कुल।
पॉइंट हमारे को, दूसरा चांस मिलता है हमारे को इनकम टैक्स ऑफिसर के सामने, जहाँ पे हम कह सकते हैं कि हमारा यही एक्चुअल रेट है और आप इसकी वैल्यूएशन रजिस्टर्ड वैल्यूअर से अपने से करा लीजिए, और उसके बाद वो रजिस्टर्ड वैल्यूअर जो वैल्यू देता है ना उसी हिसाब से फिर डिफाइन होता है।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल सही।
लेकिन रजिस्टरिंग अथॉरिटी जो है ना वो कभी नहीं मानेंगे, क्योंकि उनके पास
सर आप एग्री, मैं एग्री कर रहा हूँ कि वो नहीं मानेंगे, लेकिन आप जब अपनी अपनी
डिपार्टमेंट का
एप्लीकेशन
जो रेट
लगाएंगे
आता
तो
है
आपके डिफेंस के लिए काम करेगा वो।
आपने अगर
वो
डिस्प्यूट
क्या
आपने
करते हैं, जैसे मैं आपको बिहार के संदर्भ में बता दूं, मैंने बिहार के संदर्भ में बता दूं, ज्यादा आप डिस्प्यूट करेंगे तो सीधा वो कहता है मैटर को रेफर कर देता है डिपार्टमेंट को। डिपार्टमेंट में AIG रैंक आता है, फिर वही बात करता है, वो 10% और ऊपर लगाकर आपको पैनल एक्शन ले लेता है वो। तो कभी भी सर्किल वैल्यू से सर्किल रेट से नीचे जाते ही नहीं। ये सबसे बड़ी जो चीज है ये। और इसका पूरा पर्पस यह है, अभी देखिए जो चीजें हो रही हैं पूरे देश में, जिस तरह से अर्बनाइजेशन जो हो रहा है, रूरल एरिया भी अर्बन है, उसका मेन पर्पस है रेवेन्यू कलेक्शन। ये कि अधिक से अधिक रूरल एरिया को भी अर्बन में ले ले और इसके बाद इसका सर्कुलेट बढ़ा दे। हमारे यहाँ मैं देख रहा हूँ, दिन रात देख रहा हूँ कि आपने 54 गांव को मेरे शहर के आसपास ले लिया, अब पता चला कि बिल्कुल कंप्लीट रूरल एरिया है और आपने अचानक सर्कुलेट बढ़ा दिया। आज के दिन में सर्किल रेट गवर्नमेंट की बहुत ज्यादा है मार्केट रेट से, और वो मानने को तैयार नहीं है कि नहीं मैं तो इसी पर ले लूंगा। तो आप फिर करेंगे क्या? आप जाएंगे, रेवेन्यू का मैटर है, आप हाईकोर्ट जाते हैं, हाईकोर्ट में भी लूज करके जाते हैं कि वंस गवर्नमेंट हैज डिसाइडेड द सर्किल रेट, आप उसको कैसे चैलेंज करेंगे आप? ये दिक्कत हो रही है। अब उसमें यह है कि ठीक है, आप मार्केट रेट अगर आपने सर्किल रेट डिसाइड किया है, ये यही आपकी फेयर वैल्यू है, तो इस रेट पर आप ही एक्वायर कर लो, आप गवर्नमेंट ही एक्वायर कर ले, 10% कम पर एक्वायर कर ले, तो उस पर भी आप तैयार नहीं होंगे। तो ये पूरा ये बड़ा अजीब सा माहौल बन गया है ये चीजें। और सीधा इसके पीछे है कि रेवेन्यू कलेक्शन का जो मैं महसूस कर रहा हूँ, मैं तो देख रहा हूँ कि आज के दिन में, पहले एक समय था कि मार्केट रेट ज्यादा था, सर्किल रेट कम हुआ करता था। आज के दिन में जिस तरह से वो रेट हर साल आप रेट बढ़ा रहे हैं, उसमें सर्किल रेट ज्यादा है, मार्केट रेट कम हो गया है।
नहीं, बात आपकी बात बिल्कुल सही है सर, एंड आई टोटली एग्री विथ यू। तो अभी मैं शर्मा साहब, अभी मैं इसको, क्योंकि इसमें बहुत सारे मटेरियल हैं, इसको सेल बी कंटिन्यू और इसको,
प्लीज प्लीज प्लीज,
है ना?
नो, आई थिंक अभी करना चाहते हो, नेक्स्ट आप और एक सेशन लेना चाहते हो? मेरा तो व्यू था और एक सेशन ले सकते हो।
एक सेशन
Yes.
रखा जाए इस पर, चूंकि देखिए ये चीजें मुझे जो महसूस हो रहा है ना कि एक तो जानकारी का घोर अभाव हो गया लोगों में। एक जो एग्रीमेंट लोग कर रहे हैं, सील्ड बना रहे हैं, उसमें कहते हैं कि तयशुदा मूल्य एग्रीमेंटल वैल्यू यह होगा, गवर्नमेंट वैल्यू यह होगा, इसके बाद नोटिस फेस करनी पड़ती है वगैरह वगैरह। तो इसमें भी लोगों के अवेयरनेस नहीं के बराबर है जो चीजें हैं, जिसका पूरा का पूरा बेनिफिट वो जो सरकार जो है इनकम टैक्स डिपार्टमेंट जो उठा रही है।
नहीं, इसको तो हम लोग 50C के और 50C और इसको हम लोग एक सेशन में कंसिडर कर सकते हैं।
हाँ, वो तो बाद में ले
यस सर, वैसे सर अभी काफी इंफॉर्मेशन और है जो हमें बतानी है इसको, इस टॉपिक पे ना।
हाँ
और अभी टाइम कंस्ट्रेंट काफी है, तो हम सेशन और कर सकते हैं इस पे,
हाँ
क्योंकि मैं करना भी चाहूंगा।
तो अब अभी मैं सर जो इम्पोर्टेंट कुछ आपको मैं जो केस लॉ है वो दिखा रहा हूँ सर, लेकिन ये सेशन जो है सर, अभी मैं मान लूं जितना भी इसमें मेरे पास मटेरियल है वो आज हम भी कंप्लीट नहीं कर पाएंगे, और मैं कोशिश ये करूंगा इसको नेक्स्ट थर्सडे के बदले उसके नेक्स्ट थर्सडे को मैं रखूंगा, जो हम लोग का प्रत्येक थर्सडे को होता है, ठीक है ना? और प्रत्येक थर्सडे को जब होता है तो नेक्स्ट थर्सडे विल बी 6th ईयर, और 6th को तो नहीं कर पाऊंगा, बट आई विल कंटिन्यू ऑन द 13th ऑफ अप्रैल वी विल कंटिन्यू सर दिस सेशन।
परफेक्ट है सर, कोई इशू नहीं।
ठीक है, हम लोग कभी थोड़ा सा वो अप्रैल का महीना थोड़ा सा व्यस्तता रहती है जैसे ये, तो वो मेरे लिए कंफर्टेबल हम लोग के लिए।
आपने प्रकाश भाई इतना डेली
नहीं, अच्छा लगा, बहुत अच्छा लगा ये जो डिस्कशन हम लोगों ने किया, बड़ा फ्रूटफुल है,
बहुत डिटेल था, बहुत
useful भी
थॉरो
है।
डिस्कशन था, इसीलिए टाइम
बड़ा
लगा
थोड़ा
हमारे को।
डिस्कशन था।
प्रकाश भाई ने पूरी इन डेप्थ जाके उसकी पूरा एनालाइज करके हमें बताया, तो काफी सारे पॉइंट्स क्लियर हुए हैं, इसीलिए बिल्कुल सही बात है, एक सेशन और करने से बहुत अच्छा क्लैरिटी आ जाएगी।
क्योंकि अभी जो मैंने कवर किया ना सर, वो 1/4 था ओनली, अभी काफी कुछ नहीं कवर किया है।
नहीं तो
ठीक है, संडे देख लो सब, थोड़ा सा टाइम निकाल के अगर डिस्कस कर पाए तो प्रकाश सर से अच्छा 148 कोई नहीं समझा सकता।
बहुत अच्छा डिस्कशन हुआ ये 148 का।
6 अप्रैल को
और
कुछ आप
इसमें
फ्री नहीं हो क्या? 6 अप्रैल को फ्री नहीं हो?
मैं 6 अप्रैल को सर गांधीनगर में हूँ सर, अहमदाबाद में सर।
अच्छा,
हाँ वो सर, वो अपना BCA का है ना सर, BCA में मैं हूँ।
या ओके ओके,
हाँ मैं उसमें हूँ सर, BCA में सर।
ओके ओके। हाँ, तो दूसरा आप थर्सडे को ही रखते हो?
हाँ थर्सडे को सर, क्योंकि ये जो डिस्कशन है इनकम टैक्स का इशू थर्सडे को होता है सर, और सैटरडे को जो डिस्कशन होता है वो डिफरेंट, वो पूरा लीगल पार्ट होता है, जैसे कि इस पर हम लोग का PML है सर, ED मैटर डिस्कस होगा।
ओके, अच्छा। ये 6 साल का जो भाई साहब अभी बता रहे थे कि कब अप्लाई करना चाहिए, लोग बोलते हैं हर साल कहीं भी करते हैं, तो वापिस उस पर 2 मिनट बताओगे?